Hey, great to be with you. Happy Monday to everybody as we kick off a new week here on San Diego's number one sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. back home with the Padres after a 9-game road trip, a successful one at that, 6-3 for the Friars. They left with a record 2 games under 500 on the road. Now they come home, they're over 500 on the road for the season, and back at home where they've been incredibly successful so far this year. Padres 14-4 at Petco Park as they get set to host the Angels tonight. And Michael King will start the homestand off against Yusei Kikuchi, the left-hander for the Halos this evening. It is the Scrabinator game tonight out at Petco Park. Matt Scraby will be hosting a bunch of his special listeners. I'd be 20 or so.
Yep.
Lucky winners.
Yep.
Be coming out to the ballpark tonight, enjoying the game out in the Odyssey Suite. I have made arrangements to be down there at the game. So I'm going to try to stop by and say hello. Not because I think I'm any big deal, but because you told me that people kind of want me to come by.
I never said such a thing.
Oh, you didn't say it?
No.
Well, then I won't come by. How's that?
People were like, is Chris going to be there?
How's that? I won't come by.
I said, I don't know, but he is invited.
All right. Well, we're all going to be partying down there tonight. Tony, of course, will be broadcasting the game with Jesse down at Petco Park. And Tony, I think, there's probably a few scattered listeners out there that want us to come on today and be incredibly critical of the Padres for having the audacity to drop a game to the lowly Rockies yesterday. And it was, I guess, to a certain point, disappointing. You like to believe that you can just show up and win every single game. But it's hard to be overly critical of a 6-3 road trip, which is what I think you set out to try and accomplish. 7-2 would have been better, but you take what you get. And as far as losing a game to the Rockies, I look at I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to quote 2 of the great philosophers of our time.
Is Joe Mazzulla one of them?
He is not.
Oh, God.
He is certainly not one of the philosophers. I'm going to quote Yogi Berra, who once was asked, to explain the game of baseball. And Yogi said, well, I can explain it in 2 words. You never know, which, of course, is 3.
3 words.
And
Chris.
I understand that. That is why it's a yogiism. You never know. The second philosopher I'm going to quote, and he might be more accurate for what happened yesterday, is the great songwriter Tom Petty, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, who said, even the losers get lucky sometime.
Okay.
And so there you go. The Rockies won a game. And so it was yesterday, Tony. But overall, I think everybody feels pretty good about things.
Yeah, those who are like that upset about it, they just assume that was a foregone conclusion, and they were wrong. And listen, Nick didn't have his best game yesterday, and the credit to the Rockies, man. Listen, after getting whooped on the first 2 days, and then getting just beat down in game 2. They came out, they played like nothing ever happened. And it's remarkable. It was remarkable to see from a standpoint of they were 6-33 going into that game.
Yes, they were.
And they came out, they played. It was not the Padres' best game, certainly from a pitching standpoint. And German Marquez, who has had success against the Padres, threw his best game of the year. And so yeah, it wasn't perfect. It didn't end with the cherry on top like we had talked about before the game.
Right.
But it still ended in a 6-3 road trip. Come home where you're playing real good against 2 teams in the Angels. One team in the Angels who's struggling a little bit right now, beat up. And then I see a good Seattle Mariners team coming into right behind it. So they got no time to really kind of think about that anymore anyway. It's time to move on to this next series.
Yeah, I think honestly, you mentioned this, Tony. You lose a game 21-0. All right, that was the 3rd largest shutout victory in baseball history. The only 2 that beat it was a Pirate Cub game in 1975 that was 22-0, And I believe it was the Indian. They were the Indians then, beating the Yankees, also 22-0. So this was 1 or 2 runs away from being, the greatest shutout in the history of the sport. And I give Bud Black some of the credit here, as you almost have to with as bad a team as the Rockies have, for somehow getting them to come back the next day and put it behind them. And like you said, Tony, they played a pretty good game yesterday. Now, for his efforts, Bud Black was then fired after the game. So that seems to go along with the Rockies as a franchise. But, I don't know too many teams that would have come back the next day and even shown up. Well, so, give them that due, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wonder when the players knew that Bud Black was going to be fired, because it seemed like yesterday was a game they were doing it for Bud. But maybe that's not a thing in professional baseball.
You felt like
they wouldn't play because they knew already?
I don't think they could have known.
I don't think they let him go out and manage one more game. Like, what is the one more game for? You just got beat 21-0.
I think they looked at what was happening out on the field, saw themselves ahead 9-3, and said, "Yeah, it's a good day to get rid of him." I mean, that's. I
guess I'm living in my fantasy land.
Well, a little bit. And Tony told us maybe a little
win
behind
one for the Gipper.
No, a little behind the scenes knowledge. But Tony said they actually had to pull Bud Black's bags off the airplane.
Whoa!
Because not the buses,
not off the airplane,
whatever,
just off the buses.
The buses, because Colorado left right after the game yesterday for a road trip.
Oh,
so Bud Black's stuff was packed and already ready to go. So
he didn't know before the game. They would have done that,
right? They obviously didn't know until it was.
My theory
over.
is dead.
So, your theory dies on that one. But overall, it's a good road trip. I'm sorry, 6-3, and you did it. Here's one thing I like, and maybe it's a concern at the same time. The bullpen, finally, maybe we were to expect it, but the last 5 games, the bullpen gave up 23 runs in 12 innings. The bullpen ERA went from 1.68 to 2.94. Most of that was on Wandy Peralta, unfortunately. But the bottom line is, even with the bullpen scuffling, they still had a 6-3 road trip, which reminds us that this team is not reliant on any one thing, Tony. They finally hit a 3-run homer. In fact, they hit 2 of them on Saturday night. They haven't been reliant on that all year. They just keep finding a way to get it done and win games in many different ways. And I think that's one of the reasons why we think we have something this year.
Yeah, no, I think the Pods, they went out, they played. I thought they played some good baseball this whole trip. I thought the one game that they actually should have won that they didn't was the 3rd game in New York. That was the game that they had the best opportunity.
Right, 3-1 lead in the 8th.
Yeah, 3-1 lead in the 8th. They had opportunity in extra innings, didn't get the run in. That's the one game that got away from them. The rest of these games went as scripted for the most part. And so, man, this is a good road trip. 6-3. You went all through the East Coast, and you played the Pirates, who were just fired their manager. They did, man. They might have been the cause of 2 managers being, let go on that road trip.
Ron Washington better watch himself this week here with the Halos.
But nonetheless, man, I thought it was good. It didn't finish the way you wanted it to, but it certainly isn't anything to be mad or upset or sad about, for sure.
Yeah, and look, you may have also found something here on this road trip. Anybody expect Stephen Kolek to be lights out both starts?
Now, here
what we got? Now, go ahead and tell me that it was against the Pirates and the Rockies.
There we go.
I'll tell you that Nick Pivetta gave up 6 runs to those very same Rockies. So you tell me that
who had the second best ERA in the National League.
You can go ahead and tell me that Kolek didn't count because it was the Rockies. But if it didn't count, then what happened to Nick Pivetta? He pitched 14 shutout innings on this trip. That's a pretty nice little thing to find on the way here.
I think Coley has just continued to do what he was doing during spring. I thought he looked good in spring and doing kind of the same thing, using that sinker more, throwing the slider a little bit less. He's been good. And listen, despite that being a bad team, as Chris said, yes, Pivetta gave up 6, and that place is not an easy place to pitch. He made an adjustment. He wasn't using the sinker. He used the sinker, but he was using a 4-seam fastball almost equally.
Right. And it was past them all night long
to kind of combat, sometimes the sinker not not really sinking as much in that altitude.
Yeah.
So I thought he was impressive. I think he has pitched well enough to warrant another opportunity. Remember, I think Darvish getting closer. He's already starting to pitch in some of the games
Ramping
down
up
there
a little bit, yeah.
And so there's only going to be one spot available, and Kolek can certainly look good. I don't think he's going to surpass Vasquez in this moment unless something happens in these next couple of starts. But he certainly has held it down very well in that 5 spot those first 2 starts. I've been happy to see it personally.
And for again, Scraby and the rest of you who say it doesn't count,
I never said that. I was
yes,
just
you
presenting
did.
an argument.
I see. If it doesn't count, then what happened to the other 210 or so Padres starting pitchers who have pitched at Coors Field over the years, including Kevin Brown and including Jake Peavy and including the rest of them you can name, none of whom ever pitched a complete game shutout there. In fact, the only other guy to do it was Andy Ashby. Give the guy some credit for pitching a shutout in that ballpark.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I just have to say that because I do think it's impressive, but did any of those pitchers pitch against this Rocky lineup? No.
But Nick Pivetta did. All right, look, I think what Kolek did was pretty cool, and I think it's worth mentioning. On to the Angels now, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Matt Snyder will be on the program. We got our daily gambit. We got an intriguing Padres pen pals. We'll find out how people are thinking after this road trip and a loss to the Rockies. Chris versus the fans, Big 5. It's all coming. Tony's at Petco. The Padres are back home. It's the Scrabinator game. It's a big day on Gwynn and Chris.
Hey, San Diego, it's Woodsy.
Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick, so goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Scraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm going to laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. Not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys.
never going to do that again because my mouth is on fire.
Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick, so goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Scraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm going to laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one.
So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called
Cello Matt Scraby. Monday, kicking them off a home stand.
Kicking them off. Hey, kicking them off. NFL schedule.
That
Game
too.
one,
Got that.
kicking them off has been announced, Scrape.
Yes, it has. We have a big 5 question about that.
All right.
We will get to that a little later on. Talking some Padres, Angels. Angels coming in improved, but beat up and, not necessarily playing that great right now, Mr. Chris.
No, they always seem like they're beat up, right? They start beat up
Yeah, no, they do start
because
beat up.
Anthony Rendon is still not part of this team. Mike Trout is again.
He said he's doing okay.
Says he's ramping up, but are we really to believe Mike Trout? I mean, he also said he had a hangnail the night he got injured, and then went on the 10-day injury list. So
I don't think he said that. I
know.
think he had a bruised knee, I believe it was.
He said he was going to be fine, but as it turned out,
this is going to be fine for Mike Trout
eventually. Look, last place team, right? They're 7 games under 500, and you want to beat up on these teams. And yesterday notwithstanding, the Padres have done a great job against losing teams this year. As a matter of fact, I actually have the number in front of me because I was looking at it. They have played 16 games, the Padres have, against teams currently with a losing record. They're 12-4. One loss was yesterday, and the other 3 losses was the series to the Rays. They've won every other game against losing teams, and that's what good teams do, Tony. They beat up losing teams. The Dodgers are 18-6 against losing teams. So they've done the exact same. They've done the same thing that the Padres have. You beat them up.
You got to get fat in these situations, and the Padres have done a good job of that to this point. And so,
right.
I think, today yesterday was Pavetta. So we get today.
We get King. You got King.
Oh yeah, we back to the top of the order again.
Top of the order, yeah. I just wanted to ask you what we haven't seen a lineup yet. What do you think they'll do tonight? Because I asked this at the end of last week with the lack of right-hander. By the way, congrats to Connor Joe, who, while we weren't looking, got traded to the Reds and immediately contributed with a 2-hit, 1 RBI game the other day. So he's back in action, but not ever going to be here again. With Gurriel, Connor Joe, Campusano, et cetera, right-handers that aren't here, they either have to put Iglesias a DH tonight, or are they going to have to go with give Gavin Sheets a shot against a lefty, which is fine. I'm just saying they don't have the built-in lineup against a left-handed pitcher that they had at the beginning of the year.
I mean, yeah, but how good was that built-in lineup?
It wasn't doing very well, yeah.
Right.
It wasn't doing very well at all.
My guess is that Gavin will get the chance to DH against the lefty is my guess.
Yeah.
I just don't see a scenario in which you use one of your catchers.
No.
I guess you could maybe, but that would be the other
Yeah, you
option,
could put
right? Maybe
Maldonado
Diaz
behind the
at
plate. Yeah, you could.
yeah,
but,
have Diaz DH.
Yeah.
I can't see Lockridge DHing. I mean, you're gonna want to use him.
No, he'll be in left
later in the
field, I
game.
would think.
Right.
I think he'd be in
So-
left field.
Right, exactly. He'll be in left field. So, yeah, my guess is going to be Sheets. That would be my guess, is that Sheets gets the DH spot today against Kikuchi.
And I want to do one while I have you.
Yep.
I want to do one bit of Monday morning quarterbacking. And this
One bit.
this is a clear Monday morning quarterback because Jason Hayward hit in a double play and the rally ended in the 7th inning. Was there any thought that anybody other than me had to put Jackson Merrill up in that spot? I'm
What
just
spot?
asking. Bases loaded. You're down 6-1, but you got
No, Jackson Merrill was sick. So
sick
no.
out of the game. See, okay. Well, thank
He
you.
had an illness.
Then I don't have to even ask. I thought he was
Yeah.
just taking a rest day.
He would have to
No.
like wear diapers up there or something.
All right, thank you,
He-
Scraby.
probably.
That's more information than I needed.
That's what whenever I hear that a player is missing the game, has been scratched due to illness, I believe that they have the stomach flu or something.
You're terrible.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
terrible.
He
All right,
didn't
so
look
he
good,
was out
so.
because he wasn't feeling well. My bad
Yeah.
then. All right, so
Yeah.
no Monday morning quarterback needed.
No, none needed there. So we've previewed the age. What was the other thing you said, Scrape?
I wanted to get your guys'
cover?
thoughts on Darvish because Darvish is going to be coming back here maybe this month, maybe beginning of June. Who in the rotation is removed once Darvish comes back?
Probably
Because
Pavetta after that performance yesterday.
Pavetta, okay. Okay, good call.
I'm just
It's
being
Kolek.
I'm just being a regular fan.
It's
you know,
Kolek,
I'm
you say.
overreacting to one game.
Yeah, no, I mean, you said that like it was a surprise.
Because I thought possibly Randy Vasquez because Kolek's been pitching better, but
You just finished telling us that it didn't count because it was against Pittsburgh and Colorado. Now
Are you the
wanna-
same person that was here in the first segment?
I told you guys, devil's advocate.
You're so
Oh,
crazy
so what
over
is this then? This is Devil's Advocate time 2? Reverse?
This is the reverse devil's advocate. Someone's saying 6-man rotation on the chat, but I don't think that's something that they want to do.
I mean, they did it for what? Was it a couple years ago? They did the 6-man rotation for a little bit.
Yeah. I don't
No, it was
remember-
when it was a couple years ago because Bo Mel was the manager at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. It could very well end up having a feel of a 6-man because who's to say that you is going to be every, like he's going to make every start from
Right.
this
He might
point
pitch
on.
every
right?
couple of rounds.
Right.
could
And
happen.
so
Yeah.
I don't know that we know exactly how it's going to look at this point when it comes to Darv, right? I mean, Darv is definitely older. He's definitely he hasn't been able to complete a full season in a couple years. And so, there probably will be a game plan. I don't know that it will look like a 6-man rotation, but I think that other starter is going to factor in, enough in the second half, or whenever you comes back.
Yeah, if Kolek, I mean, look, let's hope that's the problem. Let's hope that Kolek just keeps throwing up zeros. You're going to have to keep pitching him. So, yeah, this is a good thing. Have too many guys. And again, Vasquez, because I'm so critical of him every time he walks everybody, he didn't on Friday night. And guess what? He won the game and pitched well, 2 runs. And I even like the fact that he gave up 2 solo homers, Tony. It was like, hey, I don't mind putting the ball over the plate, make them hit it. That to me is a change in his whole mental makeup. And I think that that's probably what they've been working on him with. And it served him well. He can come out of that game and go, yeah, I gave up 2 home runs, but I won the game. And I pitched, didn't overextend myself. I think he only had 1 walk. I love that.
That would have been a place that it could go cattywampus too, right? I mean,
yes, we talked about it. Yeah.
You already struggle to throw strikes consistently, and he was the exact opposite. He pitched very well.
Yeah.
Second start in a row, he kind of bounced back. So I like where Vasquez's at, and I think they like Vasquez. I mean, even when he's not throwing strikes, he's still not getting hit hard. It's a lot of soft contact. It's just the walks that oftentimes put him in jeopardy. And then a little blooper here or a hard hit there, he's giving up 2 or 3 runs. And so I'm not even asking that he walks no one. Just keep it limited to 1 or 2, as opposed to the 4 or 5 that he has posted often this season. I think he's in a good spot right now.
Agreed. It's a good outing for him. That's important. Wandy Peralta, what are we going to do with him? Now, Niebla is the master. And, this is going to happen during a season. He's not pitching well. He's they're hitting the ball pretty hard off him, unfortunately, right now, last 3 outings. So, yeah, you have to manage this kind of stuff during a season. This is a very typical thing that happens. And I guess what you have to do, Tony, is look for some low leverage spots to get him in there and get some confidence back for him.
That's where it's headed, right? I think it's headed kind of how it was last year, where he got off to a good start and then started getting hit, and they kind of had to pick certain spots to put him in. And they were able to do that in part because they were covered by Mortejon. And so, I think they're going to have to kind of piece it together with him right now. He certainly seems to be in one of those little ruts where, he's getting hit hard. There's really no getting around it. And so I think Mike has always done a good job. Him and Ruben have always done a good job of when they get a guy who's in that kind of realm, they start to kind of find pockets where that guy can have success, build up his confidence, and then hopefully getting back to a spot where he was early in the season where they were bringing him in some high leverage situations.
It's been a crazy season for relief pitchers. Not just Peralta, and I'm not trying to, lessen his, impact because it's a struggle right now. But I mean, I don't know how many closers have already lost their jobs. Devin Williams is one. Jordan Romano of the Phillies is another. Ryan Presley of the Cubs is another. And all 3 of those guys I just named were $100 million type multi-year closers that were signed as free agents and haven't even been able to get through the month of May without losing their jobs. Relief pitching
is volatile.
It's volatile. And so the Padres, fortunately, at least, knock on wood, they've had Suarez being so consistent time in and time out. It really is not something that I look at lightly. Even Tanner Scott has been in and out for the Dodgers. They've used some other guys. So it's a luxury what the Padres have right now. And if it was going to happen to anybody, a middle reliever is the best person to have it happen to. So
for sure,
let's at least look at it from that positive spin on it.
All right, let's get to break. We have a guest coming up right around the corner. Mr. Matt Snyder will join us, CBS Sports, talk about a little bit about the Padres, where they're at and where they're going. More Gwynn Chris on the other side.
Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero, never met a pitch he couldn't swing at, and powerhouse hitter for the Expos, and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, oh yeah, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time.
Scrappy, get in the camera there, will you, please? Thank you. Just don't move. Lean back a little bit, Scrape. Very good. All right, here I'm going to do that same thing. Anybody notice anything? Anybody notice anything?
I wish my camera was working right now so I could see what was going on.
Sorry, Tony. For those of you that are only listening on the radio, our YouTube chat people can probably figure it out now. Scrappy and I are wearing the exact same shirt today.
Yes.
How in the world does happen? First of all, Tony, I'm embarrassed by a couple of things. One, the fact that I'm wearing the same shirt. Two,
you guys have similar taste.
that I own the same shirt. That's the thing that really bothers me.
Here's why I bought this shirt. I am not a Nautica fan. It was like $5 at Kohl's.
This is a wife buy for me for sure. This is
And
stuff my
it's
wife
a
finds
black
out
shirt. It's like it fits me. But Chris has worn this before, and I knew one day we were going to wear it on the same day, and today's the day.
Today's the day. So, Tony evidently didn't get the memo. He's not.
Yeah, Tony, where's your Nautica
black
shirt?
Nautica T-shirt, Tony? We got to get you one for Christmas.
You know, I'm a company man today. I got my San Diego Padre
wow
shirt, on today.
Very good. Very good. All right.
So there's that.
2:35 is the time. Matt Snyder from CBS Sports will join us shortly. We talked about it, and we'll kick it around a little more in the Big Five, but the firing of Bud Black, it's a personal thing with, I know, Tony and I, especially, knowing Bud. So, I'm going to wish him the best. Dave Roberts had a great line about it. He said, quote, "I don't think Casey Stengel could change the outcome of that ball club. That's not the manager's fault."
I had to make sure that this was not a fake quote,
Right. I mean, that's it.
5 times.
That's almost bulletin board material, but I don't think it'll matter. I also don't think the Rocky. Now, look, they're not going to be 7-33 the rest of the season because it's almost impossible to be this bad. But the guy taking over there, Warren, I don't know, Warren Scheffler. Yeah,
Scheffler.
He's got his work cut out for him, to say the very least.
Adam Schefter?
He might as well be Adam Schefter. I don't think it'll matter too much.
This angered me for some reason.
That they fired him?
Yeah. Because it's like the owner's like, oh, hey, it's the manager's fault. It's not my fault for not doing anything with this team.
We all know that the ownership is a disaster there, and I don't think anyone around baseball thinks anything other than the fact that it's an ownership issue. But it's also a fan issue. And Tony, you can speak to this. You were there. What I was told Saturday night in the 8th inning, trailing 21-0 or maybe 20-0, they started the wave at Coors Field. Like the fans were partying basically down 20. And until they make a statement there and say, we're not going to put up with this anymore, I think they're going to have to put up with it.
Yeah, that's the thing, man, is all 3 of those games had way more people than should have been there for a team that has, and I'm not trying to be funny, but
yeah, no, right.
They were, and so Jesse went out and grabbed some food yesterday and said there's a couple young guys behind the desk kind of working. He was getting a Caesar wrap, I think it was. And they were kind of talking, and they were talking about the team and how bad they were. Jesse was like, why are so many people still coming? And this is kind of puts it into perspective of how people in Denver look at it. It's like the world's biggest outdoor restaurant.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're showing up. I'm pretty sure the on Friday night, the people that were there was a boatload of people in that top deck part. I think they were there all watching the Denver game. That was the Nuggets game.
Yeah, right.
It's like a big outdoor sports bar, basically. How they treat. That's the only thing I can think of. Why they keep showing up, because the game is going on. I mean, their team is usually getting beat. First 2 games, it was 13-2 at one point.
Yeah, and then 21-0. So
right, and then 21-0 the next day, which, by the way, was the most people that came to the game. 30,000 plus people there for that game.
Wow.
And so, I hate to say it. Why would Dick change his ways? He's still bringing people to the ball yard.
Yeah. Well, let's ask an expert other than us about all of this. Matt Snyder from CBS Sports is our guest, and as we always, say to Matt, we're so appreciative of the time he gives us, and really enjoy talking some baseball with you, Matt. And we were just kicking around the Rockies. The Pirates have also fired their manager in the last week since we've spoken. Does either organization, does either team have a chance to really improve with a new manager, or is there, just bigger problems at work here for both of these franchises?
I mean, surely, at least with the Rockies. I mean, it's funny you guys said you were kicking around the Rockies. That's what everybody does, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, 7-33. Geez. I suppose the Rockies couldn't get any worse. So I guess there's a chance that they could get better. But if you look at that personnel, man, they're horrible, absolutely horrible. Pirates, they feel like they should be better, but the front office didn't do enough for the offense in the offseason. It's just an absolutely brutal offense. I can't believe they didn't better support the pitching staff during Paul Skeens, what will be Paul Skeens' prime here for the next 2 or 3 years. Losing Jared Jones to injury definitely hurt to start the season. If you look around the rest of NL Central, I think it's pretty clear that they're the worst team there. And the Brewers, Reds, and at least until this winning streak, you could argue the Cardinals as well, were not even playing as well as they could play. So I don't think that the managerial changes are going to do much besides just kind of eyewash, you know. But the thing is, both these managers, they've been there for quite a while in terms of the shelf life of a manager in Major League Baseball. And you know, Bud Black, the Rockies hadn't had a winning season since 2018. I guess, and especially since he won Sunday, still gets paid through the end of the year. I don't know. Kind of feel like the Rockies might have just done Bud Black a favor. He doesn't have to keep losing.
I mean, it's kind of mind blowing in that situation, and both of those two teams have some similarities, right? Well, at least in terms of their ownership, they don't seem to really want to spend. I'm hearing that Colorado has just their whole infrastructure has to be kind of redone. They're behind the times. I mean, how long does when you are at the bare minimum, like a team like the Rockies is, how long does it take to restructure all of that and kind of get you at least moving in a direction where people can actually see light at the end of the tunnel?
It seems like a long, long time, especially how well set up the rest of the division is.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not like, at least with the Pirates, you've got Paul Skeens and Jared Jones. And if you glance around the rest of the team there, like O'Neal Cruz, 26 years old, really, really talented guy. Brian Hayes, really great defender. What if he hits a little bit? Like, there's at least pieces there on the Pirates where if they spent a little bit more, or the front office was a little more shrewd with some moves, where you could squint your way to saying, hey, they might contend sometime soon. On the Rockies, man, it's just, you need a complete revamping of the entire baseball ops. It's like Tony said, they're behind the times in a lot of the analytical departments and some of the scouting departments. They need to update some things. There hasn't really been much turnover in the front office because the last time they made a change from general manager, they just promoted from within. So it's not even like they went outside the organization to try to get some new eyes on this thing. Farm system's not really highly thought of. It's really, really in a bad way. And when you look around the rest of that division, obviously the Dodgers aren't going anywhere for a long time. It doesn't seem like the Padres will. The Giants seem to be in a pretty good place. And then the Diamondbacks, again, they've got a really good foundation there and they can spend money. So, I mean, if I was going to predict the next time the Rockies made the playoffs, I would say I wouldn't want to go sooner than like 2030.
Boy, that sounds refreshing to Rockies fans, I'm sure. Matt Snyder's our guest, of course. You mentioned the Dodgers, and we'll get to the Padres in a second. I love your comments on our team, but I was saying to Tony, they got the split there in Arizona. Gonsolin gave them a nice lift yesterday, but all the injuries and Blake Snell apparently not getting any better, and Glasnow not getting any better, and bullpen pieces missing. And what are they going to do with Michael Conforto, who can't get a hit all of a sudden, and Max Muncy having a power outage? The Dodgers are built to withstand a lot, Matt. How much more can they withstand? Or can we potentially see a little slippage here for the next month or two?
I mean, it feels like they've kind of already dealt with a lot of it since they started 8-0, and they have the best record in baseball. So they can withstand a lot. Now, the starting pitching does seem like it could become an issue, but it's Shohei Ohtani is now supposedly making progress. Clayton Kershaw is supposedly making progress. You don't know how much either one of those guys are going to hold up, and I think the bigger concerns, big picture, are Snell and Glasnow, right? Because you have to figure if they're looking at a playoff rotation, Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, those are the three ace type guys. And then whoever's going best, maybe it's Ohtani by then, maybe not. It really seems like they're slow playing it to the point that you have to worry if something else is going on. But to lose those guys, maybe it's Gonsolin who gets hot, maybe it's May. They just have so much depth. It just sounds ridiculous to talk about them having 7 starting pitchers on the injured list, and that doesn't even include Ohtani. Technically, Ohtani, the pitcher, is also on the shelf. Right. So basically, it's 8 starting pitchers on the injured list. And when you look at Yamamoto, Sasaki, May, Gonsolin, that's 4 kind of regular starting pitching types. The thing is on Sasaki, though, it does seem like if they weren't in this situation, maybe they would send him down to the minors to work on some stuff. Right now, as he looks to transition to the majors, it's not going well right now. And as you said, they have issues in the lineup as well, but they still sit there with the best record in baseball. They do seem more vulnerable than a lot of people thought they would be, though.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were getting at there.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. I would caution everybody that it is only May 12th, and there's a lot of time for all those dudes we just talked about to get healthy and turn the corner. There's plenty of time
for them, Tony, to buy a whole bunch of new guys. If they have to do that.
That is certainly an option as well. I want to ask you a little bit about the Padres, because coming into the season, it certainly seemed like the Dodgers were the runaway favorite, and they could just go away and hide. I think since the season has started, I think the Padres have reminded everybody how good their offense can be when they are healthy. They've kind of weathered the storm with some of the injuries they had early. Do you think the perception is a little bit different now that we've got into the season as it pertains to the Padres and Dodgers?
A little bit. I mean, I think if you just look at the division, the sentiment was Dodgers head and shoulders above everybody else. Diamondbacks really, really strong contender. Rockies, we don't need to talk about them again. Giants, everybody thought, I think, were ticketed for fourth place there. So it was the Padres in third. Are they mediocre? Do they have enough depth here? I think right now they're ahead of where everybody thought they would be. And it's not like they haven't had adversity. Like you said, we know there's starting pitchers on the shelf. They dealt without Jackson Merrill for a long time, and especially the way Merrill's hitting right now. It's like, hey, look how much more damage they could have been doing if Merrill had been healthy all year. And there were dry spells from like Xander Bogaerts to start the year, for example. Arias had the concussion issue. They have not been without their share of adversity, and they're just chugging along offensively. And really, there's ways that you could kind of say, I think I could find some areas where they could improve as well. So they seem formidable.
Matt Snyder is with us from CBS Sports, and we read his stuff on CBS Sports, as should you, if you are a baseball fan out there. Matt, we're still a little ahead of trade deadline time. What names are you hearing that might be out there, could be available? And I don't know that the Padres are going to be in a situation to make a lot of trades this time around, because they have parted with a lot of their minor league talent in the past couple of years. But are there some guys? I mean, is Nolan Arenado still out there? And give me
not right now.
He's not out there because they've won 8 in a row.
No,
right?
Yes.
So that
they're only a game out behind the Cubs, so there's no way they could. And he's one of the guys hitting the best during their winning streak are the vets. It's Nolan Arenado and Wilson Contreras. So as of now, no. But let's keep an eye on them, because the Cardinals are at Philly and at Kansas City this week. And then next week they come home, but they have the Tigers and somebody else good at Whitehead and Diamondbacks. So in the next 2 weeks, if they start dropping a bunch of games, then you can start thinking about Arenado being back on the shelf again. But for now, he's a hold right now. The biggest thing that everybody's already talked about was Sandy Alcantara, the former Cy Young winner, but he is not cooperating with the trade rumors right now because he's just gotten hit hard pretty much every game all year in his return from Tommy John surgery. So then it's kind of going on down the line. Tyler Alexander on the Angels is having a very good year. He is a free agent next year. Obviously, they're not contending again. That's somebody that immediately comes to mind for me. There's still a lot of sorting out to be done. And if you look at the Rockies, for example, they don't really have anybody attractive enough to sell. The White Sox, Luis Robert, that's one that I think could really move the needle there. But it's just so early. And I looked at the AL East, like in last place is the Orioles, they can't sell right now. There's no way the front office can justify that. So then you're flipped back over to the NL East, and you're looking at Marlins. Not a ton of guys just yet, other than Alcantara. Maybe he gets his act together, then Alcantara could go. I don't really see the Nationals in position to sell because I think they want to contend next year. So Luis Robert, Tyler Alexander right now. Things always get juicier as we get closer, though.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jackson Merrill. He's off to a fantastic start, as is Fernando Tatis Jr. Now he's kind of dealing with some timing issues right now, but both are off to a really good start. At the end of the day, do you see either of these guys factoring in on the National League MVP when it's all said and done?
Yes. It's interesting because a lot of it, everybody just expects that Ohtani's going to win MVP. And if he does pitch, how much does he pitch? Let's say he got up to like 80 to 100 innings and he keeps hitting like this, then he's definitely going to win MVP, and we don't even need to discuss it. But they're still only at like 35 pitches, and he's not even thrown any breaking stuff yet, and we're in the middle of May. I don't know how much he's going to pitch. And if he's only DH all year, there's an opening there. I could totally see Tatis right now being a major factor there in the MVP race. And like the other guys who are in it, Pete Alonso right there, I'd expect him to fall off. In fact, I expect Francisco Lindor to pass Alonso just on the bets alone, and maybe even Juan Soto as well. If you look around, like Kyle Tucker of the Cubs would be in the discussion, but Tatis is having a better year than him. There's upstarts in there like Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs, but surely he's going to run hot and cold because he's so young. Offensively, he'll be inconsistent. Man, Tatis is just right there. I mean, if you look at the Phillies, it's Schwarber probably, and he's a DH. Tatis might be – Ketel Marte was hurt for a little bit, much like Jackson Merrill. Tatis might be your best pick. If you wanted to go away from Ohtani right now, I think it might be Tatis.
Matt, you're the greatest. We have a couple seconds left, just enough for you to comment on this absurd comment. Paul Skeens, less strikeouts than innings pitched, 3-4 record, 2.77, not the best ERA. Can you get us a recount on last year's Rookie of the Year balloting?
Damn it, man! I had Skeens over Merrill too. I'm gonna regret that forever.
Retracted forever. No, I'm just, I'm kidding. But Jackson has been incredible again this year. So, all right. Thanks for everything as always, Matt. We appreciate it. Look forward to catching up with you shortly down the road. Thank you again.
All right. Take care.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Matt.
Matt Snyder, always cool with us, and always fun to have him on the show. Talking a little baseball there. Yeah, Skeens has, been, let's just put it this way, he's been more human this year. Still got a 0.95 whip, so he's pitching pretty well. But I know that we're never going to forget that around here.
Well, MLB put out a whole post about 1 year anniversary of Paul Skeens' debut.
Oh, goodness.
That was
something
media coverage bothers me. Paul Skeens doesn't.
Yeah,
let it go. Let it go.
You're probably right. You're probably
He'll never let
right.
it go, and he's still hoping that next time when the Pirates finally come back here, that Skeens will pitch against Jackson Merrill.
They're here at the end of the month.
Yeah, at the end of this month.
Yes.
So it's got to happen. He can't miss the Padres again. You wouldn't think.
Well, they'll figure out
found
somehow.
a way to miss him every time to this point.
Isn't that weird? And,
3 straight trips
I
he's
know. Missed him every time. But Scraby, whoever wins that matchup that day, that will settle the issue forevermore.
Well, I can already see it.
Right.
Jackson Merrill comes up and hits a home run.
It's a towering home run. Yeah. And
just like a Yankee Stadium-esque home run that he had the other night.
They go knock on Livy Dunn's door, and they take away Paul Skeens' Rookie of the Year award, and they bring it to Jackson Merrill where it rightly belongs.
I love it.
I know you would.
That is a great fantasy land that we live in.
I can see Livy Dunn parting with that. No questions asked.
I think that's all she got left, Chris.
All right. Hour in the books. We got a lot more to come. Daily Gambit. NBA playoffs continue tonight. We'll recap the weekend there. And more on the Angels and the Friars. In fact, it's a nickname matchup tonight. Halos, Friars. I don't know.
I don't get it.
You don't get it?
I mean, I get it, but I don't get it.
I think they're two of the best nicknames for teams we have out there.
Okay.
That's just how I work.
Okay. That's next. All right, it's time for the Beaver Nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall / entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves Buc-ee's. And so we got into the conversation, and it ended up being about the Beaver Nuggets. And so I had to order them because I find the name Beaver Nuggets very gross. I find it gross. But we're going to go with this. It's kind of like a Cheeto / a corn pop.
It's like a cheese doodle.
A cheese doodle. And we're going to eat them right now. I don't think these are bad, but here we go. I like it. It tastes like a corn pop.
I was just saying it tastes like a waffle, really.
It does kind of taste like a waffle. You know what? I'm in. These are good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You want another one?
No, I don't want another one. But yeah, I mean, it tastes like a waffle, like a waffle with syrup on it.
It's pretty good. I gotta say. I'm not hating these at all. Actually, they're very good. I like this. The waffle is a perfect explanation. If you've ever had, I'm sorry, I'm talking on the microphone with food in my mouth. But if you've ever had a what is it? A Lay's potato chip that's waffle flavor. It's kind of like that. Sad Fryer says, "Are they cheesy?" No, they're not cheesy at all. Actually, they're sweet.
No, it's like a hard waffle with syrup on it, with dried encrusted syrup on it.
Now I don't exactly know what the puff is. It could be just fake something.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like caramel a little bit too. All right, I gotta stop eating these because I will eat the whole bag. I love these things. I'm gonna leave them here though because I will eat this if I go home. It's just gonna be a bunch of beaver nuggets in my bed as I sleepwalk or something like that. All right, it's time for the beaver nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall / entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves Buc-ee's. And so we got into the conversation, and it ended up being about the Beaver Nuggets. And so I had to order them because I find the name Beaver Nuggets very gross. I find it gross. But we're going to go with this. It's kind of like a Cheeto / a corn pop.
It's like a cheese doodle.
A cheese doodle. And we're going to eat them right now. I don't think these are bad, but here we go. I like it. It tastes like a corn pop.
I was just saying it tastes like a waffle, really.
It does kind of taste like a waffle. You know what? I'm in. These are good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You want another one?
No, I don't want another one. But yeah, I mean, it tastes like a waffle, like a waffle with syrup on it.
It's pretty good. I gotta say. I'm not hating these at all. Actually, they're very good. I like this. The waffle is a perfect explanation. If you've ever had, I'm sorry, I'm talking on the microphone with food in my mouth. But if you've ever had a what is it? A Lay's potato chip that's waffle flavor. It's kind of like that. Sad Fryer says, "Are they cheesy?" No, they're not cheesy at all. Actually, they're sweet.
No, it's like a hard waffle with syrup on it, with dried encrusted syrup on it.
Now I don't exactly know what the puff is. It could be just fake something.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like caramel a little bit too. All right, I gotta stop eating these because I will eat the whole bag. I love these things. I'm gonna leave them here though because I will eat this if I go home. It's just gonna be a bunch of beaver nuggets in my bed as I sleepwalk or something like that. All right, it's time for the beaver nuggets. So the story is somehow Buc-ee's got brought up. I think Frank brought it up.
Yes.
And it's a rest stop / mall /
Super
entertainment zone, super center. And someone said on the chat yesterday that they have like 100. They went to one with like 100 gas pumps, which is a lot, I guess. But while we were talking about this, Sam Levitt was in New York listening, and he goes, "Put me on, put me on, put me on." And so we put him on, and he's talking about how much he loves.
Gwynn and Chris, Tony, run downstairs, take care of a few things with Mike Schilt. He gets ready for tonight's broadcast. Padres and Halos coming up tonight. Tony will be back for our Big Five. And also, we got a Padre Pen Pal segment coming up at the bottom of this hour. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby here in the Odyssey Palace studios. We got to get right to the Daily Gambit today because we have a lot. But I just wanted to throw this in without too much discussion, but just put it in your head. According to our old friend, John Heyman. Remember him? Scrape?
Yes, I do.
John Heyman says the Padres were on the hunt prior to the season. She expressed a lot of interest in Anthony Rizzo as a left-handed hitting bat, first baseman type guy. Rizzo's 35, said he had wanted to continue playing despite his age. Padres did not ever get Rizzo and went with Jason Hayward instead.
I'm assuming Rizzo didn't want to play for $1 million.
Well, I don't know about that, but Hayward's 2 home runs, 181, 517 OPS. I don't know how much longer, despite his pretty good defense.
His defense is
It's been good.
Good.
It's been good. And clubhouse presence, which we know is good. But can you continue with that? And for how much longer can you? I'm just throwing it out. I think it's too early to be seriously discussing that.
Until he stops playing defense.
I don't know. You can't win too much with a 181 left fielder.
No.
Not too often.
No, you can't. But he did hit it.
He did
the
hit
first 3-run home run of the season.
He broke my heart, Scraby. I wanted to see that continue for the whole season.
I mean, you knew if there was a place it was going to happen, it was probably Coors Field.
Yeah. It happened twice, actually, Saturday night. They had a pair of 3-run homers.
Yeah, in back-to-back innings.
I know.
Isn't that weird how baseball works?
Didn't happen for 160-plus plate appearances.
And then boom.
Boom, it happened twice. All right, let's get to the Daily Gambit. We got a lot of games to look at.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. And Chris, before we get into the Big Five, the lineup came in while Matt Snyder was on the show. And the most important thing that we need to know is that Jackson Merritt was back in the lineup.
Back in the cleanup spot tonight. Yes.
Pretty normal lineup. Tatis, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Bogarts, Sheets at DH, Diaz, Cronenworth, Lockridge, and then King is pitching.
Yeah, it's pretty much your lineup against left-handed starting pitching right now. And the question is, will Gavin Sheets make that a permanent thing where he gets the DH against lefties?
I picked him up again in fantasy today. He's been pretty good lately.
Well, he just finished in Coors Field. A lot of guys look good when they're there.
Yeah, he hit a pretty deep home run,
I would say,
in that first inning on, I think, Saturday night.
Yeah.
All right. Cavs on Friday night against the Pacers. They were 5-point favorites. Chris said Pacers. I said Cavs, and the Cavs won 126-104.
And then yesterday, Indiana won,
yeah,
and led by, can you believe, 41-point lead at halftime.
There's been some crazy point differentials in the playoffs.
And bad news for the Cavs, who are now facing elimination. Donovan Mitchell, questionable for Game 5.
Yes.
That could be the end of a great season for Cleveland.
He's got, what, an ankle injury?
Ankle, yes.
That hurts when you play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
OKC was 6-point favorites against Denver on Friday night. Chris chose Denver. I chose OKC. Denver won So they went outright 113-104.
And then OKC got even yesterday, so they're 2-2 in that series.
Which game had more points, the Cavs and the Pacers or the Thunder and the Nuggets? We both said OKC Denver. That was not the highest scoring game. The Cavs and Pacers combined for 230. The Thunder and Nuggets combined for 217. So we were both wrong on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Boston, they were playing Saturday night against the Knicks. They were 5.5-point favorites. Chris chose Boston. I chose the Knicks. Celtics won by 22, 115-93. So no issues
Chance
there.
for the Celtics to even the score tonight.
I can't wait for them to hoist 75 threes and make like
2.
Yeah. Then we had Minnesota, 5-point favorites at Golden State. We both took the Wolves, and we were
Tied.
not correct, and we were not wrong because the T-Wolves won by 5, 102-97. Tell us how.
You can thank Kuminga for that. The
I
Warriors,
love Kuminga.
Jonathan Kuminga hit a falling out of bounds with a hand in his face 3-point jumper at the buzzer.
So a prayer.
Just threw it up there because the game was over. And instead of losing by 8, the Warriors lost by 5. I imagine a lot of money exchanged hands on that shot.
Yes. Yes.
So,
just look around the sports book. You'll see who's who.
Who won, who lost,
Yeah.
who tied, who pushed, who didn't win. Yeah, there was a lot riding on that heave.
I do love. There was one time I was in a sports book where it was like that ended game. Everybody was watching to see if they won the bet, and then it went one way for someone, and then you see these people just cheer, and you see these other people just throw their tickets on the ground. It's great.
That's betting for
It's
you.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, who scored more in their game? Jalen Brunson for the Knicks or Ant-Man for the Wolves? We both said Brunson. Ant-Man had 36. Brunson only had 27.
Ant-Man had a huge game for Minnesota in Game 3. Without Steph, the Warriors don't look like they can keep up with them.
No.
But tonight could be big. If the Warriors can find a way, and I don't know how, but then maybe they get lucky and Steph comes back for Game 5 and it's a series again. So we'll see.
You take the best 3-point shooting player in the
Take
NBA
one of the
history,
best, just one of the best players, period.
and it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt. Yeah.
Toronto at the Panthers on Friday night. The Panthers were -1.5 on the puck line. Chris chose the Panthers. I chose the Leaves or the Maple Leafs.
Maple Leaves.
Every time I do this, people are legitimately mad at me, and I'm like, guys, it's just a joke. I'm just saying it because it's fun. And they're like, it's not fun. You're misleading people into thinking that it's the Leaves. Calm down, everybody.
I you know what? I don't agree with you on much, but since it is more than one leaf, I think it should be the Leaves.
Thank you.
I like it.
Panthers, though, they won, but they did not win by enough, 5-4. So the Leaves win it.
Yeah.
Padres Rockies over under 11.5 total runs on Friday night. Chris went over. I don't know what I was thinking by going under. It was going to be like 14 runs until the Rockies decided to score a bunch of runs at the end of the game. It was 13-9, so that was 22 runs. You were correct. Dodgers. Now, this game was absolutely insane on Friday night between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Dodgers were -1.5 on the run line. We both chose the D-backs, and the Dodgers had to come from behind. Ohtani hits a massive home run at the end of the game, but Dodgers end up winning this one 14-11, so they win the bet too.
If you're looking for the biggest difference between the Padres, the Diamondbacks, Giants, the teams that are all going to try to beat the Dodgers, the Padres have almost a sure thing in the 9th inning. Neither the Diamondbacks nor the Giants have that.
Yep.
They are, they hope that they hang on, but the Padres know they're going to hang on. That to me is a big edge for us.
Yes. You get a guy that goes in there, he just puts up a zero.
Diamondbacks don't have a closer, nor the Giants have one, but he's not very good.
And they
Ryan
keep
Walker.
switching in between Duvall and him. And
both those teams are hurting there.
All right, last one. Giants and Twins on Friday night. Over under 9 runs total in the game. I said over. You said under. It was 3-1. So
I went under because of Chris Paddock, who pitched a
and
perfect
he won the
game. He pitched a perfect game into the 6th inning.
We were giving the Sheriff a little bit of stuff, but he ended up being great.
Good for the Sheriff. All right, tonight, back at it for Game 4. Celtics -6 over the Knickerbockers. Most people think the Celtics are going to even the series. I am hoping the Knicks find a way. I will take the 6 points. It all comes down to the 3-point shot. I mean, that's it. Celtics make them or not. Who you taking?
I'm going Celts.
You're going with the Celtics.
Yeah.
All right. Hope you jinx
They'll
it.
make 18 of 68 threes.
That might be enough. Minnesota minus 5.5 tonight at GSW. Warriors only lost by 5 last time because of the miracle shot by Kuminga.
Yes, the miracle in the corner.
Yeah. Who do you have here?
I can't pick the Warriors. I'm going to go Wolves.
I'm going to take the Warriors. I watched that game the other day. I thought Golden State and Steve Kerr did a hell of a job. And they don't have enough to win, but they have enough to play the entire game right there to the wire. Which game scores more points? Celtics, Knicks, minus 10, or T-Wolves, Warriors? It's still going to be Celtics, Knicks. The Warriors' only chance is to slow the game down, which they did in Game 3. They'll do it again tonight. It'll be low scoring. I'll take the Celtics, Knicks, but I got to give 10. Which one do you want? More points.
I'll
total.
go the other way just for the sake
You'll go
of that.
the Minnesota Warrior game. Tatum versus Ant-Man. Tonight, points straight up. Tatum against the Knicks, Ant against the Warriors. Scraby.
I am going to stay with the hot hand and go Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. I'll go Tatum, even though I do not like him. He chucks so many shots. Edmonton up 2-1, minus 1.5 over Vegas. Vegas beat them the other night on a goal with 0.4 seconds left.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tonight, Edmonton gets revenge. I'll take Edmonton minus 1.5.
The Oilers.
The oil. I like to just call them the oil. Who do you have
I'm
here?
going to say Vegas.
You're going to go
Maybe it doesn't win, but
all right.
Only loses
Stay
by
within
1.
Dodgers, Padres, Angels. 7 runs tonight is over under. Scrape. 7 runs. You got Michael King on the mound.
UC Kikuchi's pretty good too.
Kikuchi? Where you going? Kikuchi's 0-4, but a decent ERA.
Weather's kind of cold tonight.
Okay.
I'm going under.
Under. I'm going under because it's a Scrabinator game, and every time we get to sit in the suite, it's the game only takes an hour and a half, and then we all have to go home.
It's true.
It never fails.
When we did the
entertainment night,
yes,
the game was
night.
over, but in a blink of an eye.
It was maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes.
It happens like that. I go under also. Texas minus 1.5 runs against the Rockies in Texas. As usual, this is the easiest bet on the board. I'll take Texas, although a new manager for the Rocks tonight. Bruce Bochy going to have a little heart? I wouldn't think he would.
No. The Rockies, they were living it up yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Back to earth today. So I'm going to
Probably
go
back to
Rangers.
earth today. They've only won 2 on the road all year, the Rockies. Who has more strikeouts tonight? Tyler Mahle of Texas or Michael King of the Padres? Different games, more strikeouts.
Ooh.
Mahle's facing, of course, the Rocks. King's facing the Halos. Who has more? They both have the same odds. So
I'm going King.
I go King, too. King always gets a lot of strikeouts at home. There's our daily gambit. When we come back, fans are acting like idiots all over baseball.
Oh, man.
Don't be the next one to do it. We'll
Did
explain.
I miss something over the weekend?
You might have. I'll let you know when we come back after traffic.
From the
I actually got in trouble once when I worked at the bank for looking up a celebrity, and it was totally wrong on my part. Totally wrong.
Looking up their account number?
Just I searched their name in the account system, and
what is wrong with you?
I was like 19.
You'd be better
I
off. You would be better. You'd be better off admitting that you wear your underwear inside out. Frankly,
This guy is just searching up people's accounts.
It only happened that one time because I got caught.
Oh,
How did you get caught?
The account was flagged, and anybody taking a look at it gets logged, and so I got called into the boss's office like 3 days
What
later.
did that come? I'm sorry, I gotta ask. But nobody's supposed to be doing this preview. What did that conversation? How did it go?
Well,
why were you looking up Paris Hilton? Is that who it was?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh my!
I can neither confirm. That's really funny, Chris, that you just yelled out that name out of all names.
No,
but I walked in. I got called into the office, and I sat down.
gosh.
And all my boss. I loved her. She was great. Her name was Sharon. Amazing boss. She just slid the piece of paper in front of me.
You knew.
Said, "Did you visit this account?" And I looked. Yeah. She was like, "We're gonna have to write you up for this, and if you do it again, we're gonna have to fire you." And I said, "I'll never do it again." And I got out of there as soon as possible. I took everything, but it was not good. Not good.
Just curiosity, huh? He's like, I wonder how much they have in their account.
Yeah. I mean, before I got caught, I did look up athletes. And,
oh my God! I'm so glad you're sitting in this seat now.
Yes, I'm so happy you're not doing any job that can be dangerous to people's futures.
This was in the first year that I was there. I learned my lesson thoroughly.
Chris, as I said, as soon as they walked in, they was like,
yeah,
that's our guy right there.
That's our window.
We're gonna take him down.
Yep.
Just lucky I didn't get caught for like. I can't even say. I'll tell you guys off break whose account I saw and how much money they had sitting in their checking account.
And this was how long ago, too, by the way?
2009, 10. Way before I became a good person.
Didn't Bank America end up getting in trouble? Or was that it was one of those banks got in trouble?
All of them get in trouble for selling information. But
I heard folks like you.
I wasn't selling any information. I was just wanting to see what was going on.
Curious.
I didn't check their account activity, which I could have. Been like, oh, they bought this here. I'm going to go up there. You know, I'm not that creepy.
Well, that's stock.
Oh, yeah, you're not that bad.
I'm not that creepy.
This is amazing, by the way. We're supposed to be doing.
How are we supposed to do baseball picks under these
I don't think we can
circumstances?
anymore. I think we gotta push it. You guys never did it? Well, I mean,
no, Scrape, we didn't.
Really? Okay. Like you work at a bank, you're looking at people's account information?
That's
unbelievable.
It only happened for a little bit, and then I got
only for a little bit.
I can't stop laughing at this because it is quite hilarious, Scrape.
But you were saying that I may have gotten robbed or whatever. I actually did get robbed when I worked in San Francisco, and they're called quick change artists.
How long did you work in the banking industry?
8 years. I was a teller supervisor when I finished. I was also the merchant teller, which took in around $150,000 in cash a day. Guess what? Always balanced at the end of the day.
Yeah, I bet.
But there was a guy who walked in. He had about $5,000 in hundreds, and he handed it to me. He said, "Can I get 50s for these?" And I said, you know, it's pretty annoying that he wants
$5,000 in hundreds.
In hundreds, and he wanted $5,000 in 50s. He just wanted 50s instead of hundreds. So I had to go get it from the vault. I come back. I'm starting to count it out, and then he's like starting to ask me questions as I'm counting it out.
He's trying to
then
what did I tell you, Chris? This is what I'm talking
hey,
about.
That window right there.
Hey, this guy was so good that no one saw it coming. But so when I started getting mad at him because I counted out the 50s, he goes, "What are you doing?" I asked for 20s. And I'm like, what? You did not ask for 20s. You asked for 50s, bro. Yeah. I had to go to the vault to get those 50s. And as I was getting all mad and talking to my boss, he took the cash off the counter and put it into this folder that he had on the thing that
the original 5,000 in hundreds.
Yeah, well, he kept going like that, and then I was so mad, I just grabbed it and I threw it in my drawer. And then he was like, "You know what? I'm out of here." And he walked out. And then at the end of the day, $3,000.
He got an extra 3 on you.
$3,000. Yeah, he got $3,000.
The thing about criminals like that, they can sniff out a mark really.
I'm not a mark.
You are 1,000%.
I was actually the bank's
dog. They got you for 3 extra.
And that's the only time in my 8 years that I ever had anything happen like that.
I'm sure there are people who've been there 8 years and never had 0 taken.
Scrape, I got a 20 here. Can I get 5 5s, please?
I hate you guys.
Let's get to
that was one of the worst moments of my life, but you know what? It taught me a lot. Never trust anyone ever again.
You know what? You definitely have learned because you don't trust very many people.
I don't trust anyone
anymore.
I actually got in trouble once when I worked at the bank for looking up a celebrity, and it was totally wrong on my part. Totally wrong.
Looking up their account number?
Just I searched their name in the account system. And
Scrapey, what is wrong with you?
I was like 19.
You'd be better off. You'd be better off admitting that you wore your underwear.
Overall, seeing him, since day one, since I saw him, how much he's grown as a player, as much as he's grown as a human being. The things he's doing as a player out there every single day. I love seeing that. I love seeing the development, the growth. Since he was a 19-year-old kid getting his first hit here, and obviously reaching all these accolades. I mean, it's just a beauty to be a part of. Manny
Machado, among those who appreciate The brilliance of Fernando Tatis Jr. I will say that I think one of the more underrated aspects of this season, Scraby, is Fernando Tatis Jr.'s apparent maturity level. Right? We're not with him every single day, but just watching the way he's going about his business now, he seems to have really grown up a lot between last year and this year.
I agree with you.
And I think it's showing the way he's playing, the way he's treating the game. He's still playing with the same joy, but I just feel there's a little bit more of an earnestness to what he's doing this year. And it's showing up statistically, of course. Manny was talking about that because Fernando passed Tony Gwynn on the Padres all-time home run list over the weekend. 136 now for Fernando. Tony had 135. I'll tell you this, Machado and Tatis are going to be 1-2 on this list before too long.
Oh, yeah.
Manny's already number 1. Fernando's number 6, but he's going to pass Dave Winfield, Phil Nevin, Adrian Gonzalez, and Nate Colbert soon, like within the next year. So those are going to be your top 2 home run hitters in the history of the franchise.
What about Jackson Merrill?
Very soon. He could be 3rd, but he's a ways, down the list at this point.
You know what? Wood said something on the roundtable last week that stuck with me all weekend for some reason, but he said, I expected Jackson Merrill to be like a 6 home run guy, but he's legit 25, maybe 30 if he gets there at some point in his career.
I don't think anybody expected him ever to start a game against a left-handed pitcher.
And look at what he's doing.
Batting cleanup tonight against a left-handed pitcher, and he should be.
Yes.
Yeah, it's weird. Tune in to the manager's report. Speaking of Woodsy, Mike Schilt every Friday, 9 a.m. with Ben and Woods. The manager's report refreshed by Eco Water SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. Eco Water SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Mike Schilt, 9 a.m. Friday mornings. Don't miss it with Ben and Woods. Thursday, of course, our roundtable. That gets underway at 10 a.m. Lots of Padres stuff for you to look forward to as the week goes on, including Sam Levitt's pregame show, which is a couple of hours away this evening from Petco Park. We talk about it more than we should. I don't want to say more than we should. We talk about it more than we want to, but I think we should keep talking about it until someday this gets better. And it's not getting better right now, Scraby. It's getting way worse. And this is why, it needs to continue to be dealt with or somehow.
Yes.
I'll start with Max Muncy. And I'm not a fan, never have been a fan. I know that none of you out there are fans and never have been a fan. He plays for the evil empire. But Max Muncy still does not deserve to have his entire being threatened just for walking out onto the team bus.
Oh, yeah, I saw this a couple weeks ago.
There was a video a couple of weeks ago, people hurling profanities at him and not just like endless stuff while he's, just getting on the bus. Look, he's got 1 home run. He struck out 35% of the time this year. He's hitting 190. Okay, but, here's what I don't get. If you call yourself a decent fan, and in this case, a Dodger fan.
I don't think they're fans.
I
know what you're saying, but
what I'm going to get to is Max Muncy already helped you win 2 World Series titles. Big part of it, right? Last year and in 2020. You would think, that a real fan would have some recollection of what this guy did as opposed to what he's currently doing. But they don't. And the same goes for what happened in Houston over the weekend. This was really disgraceful and to a certain extent scary. Lance McCullers, who's the son of the former Padre pitcher, I might add, who went by the same name.
Yes.
Lance McCullers Jr. Started, I think it was his first or second game back. He's been hurt for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And he got knocked out in the first inning. I think the Reds scored 10 runs. And by the time the game was over, his kids' lives had been threatened by people on wherever, social media, etc. This is so scary and uncalled for.
Do you want to hear what he had to say?
Of course I do.
Okay.
It's been a tough evening. you know, I understand people are very passionate and people love the Astros and love sports, but, you know, threatening to find my kids and murder them is a little bit tough to deal with. So, you know, just as a father, I think there have been many threats over the years aimed at me mostly, and I think actually one or two people have, from other issues around baseball, actually had to go to jail for things like that. But you know, I think bringing kids into the to the equation, you know, threatening to find them or next time they see us in public, they're gonna stab my kids to death. Things like that is tough to hear as a dad.
I mean, you almost got to let that sink in for a second.
I can't even believe it.
Right? I mean, are you kidding? I mean, this guy does have to take his kids to school, drop them off for the day.
Yeah.
This guy does have to go out of town with his team and leave his kids behind.
Yep.
How can you even live your life concerned about something like this? I will ask you, Scraby, because you are the technical expert.
Okay.
Is there any way to track down the people that are sending these threats through social media or email or however it's been done?
I'm assuming it's through social media, and yes, there is, unless they're smart and they cover their tracks. But I don't envision a lot of these people being very smart.
Right, I wouldn't either.
It's
just off the cuff. You're that upset.
I don't think it's off the cuff. I think this is someone who either lost money. It's the betting world,
Probably
and the
lost money.
fantasy sports world.
Fair point. Probably lost money. But can we prosecute and lock up some of these people?
I would love to.
This seems to be the only step that can be taken at this point to at least maybe deter the next guy from making a threat like this.
See, I don't think anyone will be deterred because they think that they'll get away with it. I thought a lot about this over the weekend, and I am not going to buy the argument that he started with. I get that people are passionate. I get that people are fans. No more. I do not care that you love the Astros. You cannot message a pitcher and say you're going to murder his children because he didn't pitch well. That is not someone with passion. That is someone with evil intent in their heart. And I can't stand behind that anymore. You are not a fan if you threaten children.
Right. So let's please find them on social media. There got to be a way you can dig up all this stuff now.
There is a way because Instagram can probably find their IP addresses and things like that.
Take a moment to prosecute one of these people and, for lack of a better term, hang them up in the public square. So, the rest of the people get the message. This is ridiculous. This is scary ridiculous.
Yeah, I think people also. I think we need more social media regulation. We can't have these burner accounts anymore because the burner accounts used to be fun. It used to be characters. You used to be like the faux
what you're
Mike
saying
Schilt.
Right, so you don't have to stand behind what you're saying. In a sense.
Those accounts were like fun. It's like Mike Schilt says something and then the Twitter account says something. Now these accounts are being made to harass and to threaten, and that's where we cannot have this anymore. There's no way to make a law where you have to have an ID to get a social media account, but I think we're heading that way because it's getting, as you said to start the segment, it's getting more intense as we go along with this whole thing.
Yeah, this is not the only story of this kind, but I bringing it up because I trying to give anybody ideas. I'm trying to get people to understand that this happens out here. And we, as the majority, right, the 99 percentile
that don't do this stuff,
right, need to step up and, try to find the people that do. I mean, this is awful, horrible. Scary.
I listened to a podcast called Darknet Diaries, which is all about the internet and hacking and all this other stuff. And there's an episode about people that are good that hack to get the bad people off. If there's good hackers out there, hack these accounts and figure out who these people are and out them to everyone because that's what they deserve for threatening his children's lives.
Horrible. Horrible indeed. Break time and some Padre pen pals, including some people that are angry with Wandy Peralta. Hopefully not that angry as Gwynn and Chris continues. Coming up.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question, long hair, long beard, have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man.
I don't think so.
That's great. That's
Why
great.
is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
Okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key.
That's
How
the
does it
biggest thing.
perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good and getting ramped up. But I feel like I'm on track.
How do you deal in terms of getting yourself ready each and every year? You know, ball players are notorious for always trying to figure out how to get a little bit better. You're probably one of the most consistent guys in our league. Is there as much a focus on finding ways to get better, or is the focus how to continue on the path that you've been on, which is a guy who can get in a lot of innings every year?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what part of the offseason I'm in and, you know, what I'm trying to work on. Like specifically this offseason, I've made a little mechanical adjustment, tinkering with some new pitches. But the bulk of it is just getting my body ready, really. I mean, that's the main focus, main priority. So I kind of know where I need to be in terms of like my velocity and bullpens and building up and all that. So I always like to think I'm adding. I'm definitely working on new pitches and exciting stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I kind of know that my four-seamer and my slider and my curveball are kind of going to be my main pitches.
Right.
So it's like no matter what, that's my base and foundation, and everything from there is just tinkering and just seeing if I can get a little bit better.
We're talking to... All of a sudden, my mic over there.
There you go.
Sorry. We're talking to Dylan Cease here,
Don't
Padres
panic.
starting pitcher. I wasn't panicking.
You look like you panicked.
I was panicking for one half.
He made me panic.
Did I look like I panicked?
You panicked a little bit, that's
all right. Well, Dylan says I panicked, and I panicked. I'm going to have to ask the question about, and I know you've been asked this today, but your name has been a part of a lot of trade rumors this year. I think Padres fans want you to stay here in San Diego. See, right there? How do you deal with that? Because I would imagine that would be hard.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's my second year in a row dealing with it, so I got experience now. It's just part of the business, I guess. Really, wherever I go, I'm gonna make the best of the opportunity. I love San Diego and I want to be here, so it's like if I don't go anywhere, I love it here. And if they trade me, then I just have to go make the best of it wherever I go.
Now, you talked a little bit about working on new pitches and mechanics. For you, how long does a mechanical change take to be something where you don't have to think about it anymore?
Yeah, and that depends. This specific scenario, I'm working on an upper half thing, a glove thing. So I don't know. It's kind of new territory for me.
Yeah, so you're kind of figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, but it really gets to the point where it feels good, and then from there it's just ramping up the intensity. And because anytime you do something at a higher power or higher speed, it's like a new feeling altogether. So I can sit and train it one way, but until I'm throwing 98 with it.
Doing it in game speed,
And a lot of it, is kind of like learning my body, and then I'll throw a pitch and it's like, oh, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Like specifically if I'm throwing a four-seam fastball and I'm trying to throw it just through somebody, but it's yanked, it's like, okay, something happened right there. I don't know, something came off. I didn't use my legs.
You could just feel something different about it.
And then you see the shape of the pitch. So a lot of it's just gaining feedback from what the ball's doing and then trying to manipulate my body to see like, oh, okay, when I do this, the ball goes this way, and just see if I can't ingrain that.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question, long hair, long beard, have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man.
I don't think so.
That's great.
Why is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
Okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? You going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key.
That's
How
the
does
biggest
it
thing.
perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good.
Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. Padres Angels tonight. Yes, one of those inter-league Angels or Padres, by the way, not been good against the American League yet this year. Got swept by the Rays. Lost 2 out of 3 to the Tigers. Also lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros. So, time to get back with it.
Yeah.
Padres have done well, though, against losing teams this year, despite yesterday's loss to the Rockies. Unconscionable loss to the Rockies.
I got to tell you, I was pretty angry all day yesterday.
I know people were angry, and you kind of felt angry. But as I said, you're going to play him 13 times this year. I'm going to give you 2 losses maximum.
Okay.
Go 11-2. It's hard to go 13-0, even against the Rockies. But you're right.
I mean, they almost did.
Yeah, felt like you should win that game yesterday, especially after 21-0. I was looking it up, though. The Yankees lost to the Indians, and they were the Indians then, in 2004, 22-0, and then beat them the next day. So it's not impossible.
Maybe it's the embarrassment factor.
Maybe you're just so embarrassed, or maybe it was so bad Saturday that when you get out there Sunday, you're like, yeah, we got absolutely nothing to lose. But Marquez, he's pitched well against the Padres in his career. He's 11-4 against the Padres with that win yesterday. So, but the Padres overall are 12-4 against losing teams.
I have a question.
That's a 750 win clip. So let's keep that up.
I like the 750 win clip.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday when the Rockies lost 21-0.
Right.
I tweeted out that I really do feel bad for these players because it's not their fault they're so bad. They're competing at a huge disadvantage because their owner does not care. As Tony said when he came on earlier, there were full crowds at that stadium all weekend long, which also infuriated me because it's like, why are you allowing this to happen?
Yeah, if you're one of the, and I call the Rockies a bunch of 4A players, like Hunter Goodman, he's good enough to have a day like he did yesterday, but he may not get another hit for a week, Yeah. Michael Tolia, he can hit a home run, but he, doesn't hit many. Jordan Beck, I think, is a player that's on the rise. So they've got some guys like this out there. Tovar, Doyle. Tovar's hurt right now. But you're right. They're 4A players, and they're trying to compete at a major league level. But I thought Elias Diaz said it the best Saturday night because he played with these guys last year, right, before he came to the Padres.
Yes.
And he said, yeah, I feel sorry for them or bad for them. I played with these guys, but, this is big league baseball. We're supposed to go out there and beat their brains in, and, if it happens, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anyone's going to feel sorry for these guys. They have to find their way through it. Luckily, it's not our problem for a while because I don't think the Padres play the Rockies again until September. So,
right when they need them to.
Right when they're going to need those games, hopefully at the end of the season. All right. One quick thing before we get to our Padre pen pals. Trivia. You're the biggest Padre fan out there. You or anyone else out there. Let's see how big of a Padre fan you are. Who is, I don't want you to answer right away if you know. Who is David Macias? Anybody know?
The name sounds
Somebody out there is
familiar.
going, oh, yeah, I know that. But I'm telling you, 90% of you don't know who that is.
It sounds extremely familiar.
I'll give you a clue. He's on the field in a Padre uniform every game. Every game.
Oh, he's the he's the first base coach.
Yes, he is.
There we go.
There you go.
I was like, why does his name sound so familiar?
He never gets a mention.
Tim Leeper's arm almost fell off on Saturday.
The third base coach. David Macias, I bring him up because he floated an idea to the San Diego Union Tribune. It was a little while ago, but I'm just catching wind of it here. He says that Major League Baseball ought to go to the side-by-side first base bag idea. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
In softball,
yes.
When you play your weekly game, there's one base for the first baseman to step on. There's another for the runner to step on.
Yes.
So that guys don't run into each other.
I saw this in college the other day.
Yeah. So do you think baseball, he thinks they should. Macias does. He brought it up after the Luis Ariz incident in Houston.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like it would be nobody's going to be hurt by this, right? Going to change anything. Why not do it? You're making base coaches wear helmets. Why? Because you want to protect them. So why not put a base out there so that it's less likely we'll have a collision?
I did see a weird play over the weekend, and that's why I can see this in my head. But I can't remember which college game it was, but the base is white, and the base in foul territory is orange in this game.
Okay.
So the runner goes through, he steps on the orange, he comes back, he doesn't step on the white, but he's standing on the base on the orange side. Person tags him, he's out.
Nah. All right. Well, that you'd have to clear all that up.
I don't think you should be penalized for standing.
I don't think
on the
you
orange.
should either. I think you should just either one's good. But this seems like a no-brainer for baseball. So good on you, David Macias. And I hope that baseball listens. Don't hold your breath.
You know what, Robert Stock? Remember Robert Stock?
Yes, the guy who
tried to pitch 105 with the Padres. He had a pretty good tweet over the weekend, which was, softball's been doing this forever. It's a good idea. It's safe, but Major League Baseball doesn't want to admit that women had the idea first kind of tweet, which may be true. I thought it was kind of funny because softball has had this for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, thank you, Robert Stock, but I can't buy this.
His Twitter account has some interesting takes.
I mean, I think of the NBA, which went 10 years after the ABA invented the 3-point line to adopt it.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
There are good ideas that need to be adopted. This, to me, is one.
Well, the eye in the sky ref for the NFL came from the XFL. They had the expedited review in the XFL. The NFL picked it up.
AFL invented the 2-point conversion. The NFL did not bring it in till maybe 20 years ago. All right, let's get to some other questions and answers with our Padre pen pals. First, though, get you around the city with some traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by City Cruises. Got a collision on westbound King Freeway near the 30th Street off-ramp. Appears to be in the center divide. Also traveling on South 163 at the West 52 connector. A stalled vehicle, tow trucks on scene. Helping out with that. Eastbound 905 just before Caliente. Some large tire tread in middle lanes. On the coastline, northbound 5, right before the racetrack, there's a collision blocking the 2 left lanes. And westbound 78, a collision on the Vista Village off-ramp. A couple vehicles involved. In fact, looks like some debris up ahead right before Sycamore. Set sail with Randy Hauser as he lights up the bay for an exclusive concert cruise like no other. Join us on Friday, May 23rd with City Cruises, live in San Diego for an epic night of country music, dinner, drinks, and skyline views. Get tickets now at citycruises.com/live. And Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for Chris. He thinks they're cute. Padres Pen Pals begins.
Hurt the pelota big time.
Now, on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so the Padres had a pretty good road trip, I would say. 6-3. That's not bad at all. And we have a lot of positive stuff going on. We have one person who is very angry with us for the way we characterize some of the players on the team. And Tony said when they bring the smoke, I better bring the smoke too. So I did. I left it pretty much as is, the submission from this person. But let's go with this one first. And it's about Fernando. And Tony, since you're our hitting expert, I have you going first on this one. I've watched baseball for a few years, but I don't have any sort of background with the mechanics of a baseball swing. I've heard people say Fernando was swinging it well because he had a low leg kick earlier in the year. I've also heard that he has a bigger leg kick now. Can you explain why someone would change from a small leg kick and go back to a big leg kick?
In his case, it's about timing. He's trying, for whatever reason, he's lost the timing, which is kind of picking it up and putting it down, and seems to have a better feel, at least in the last 4 or 5 at-bats, with the leg kick. I think, that's kind of where he's at. I think we will see more. I don't know if it'll be a lot more, but I definitely think we're going to see him chase that breaking ball a little bit more than we had been all season. But I think for him, why he would go from a just kind of picking it up, putting it down to a leg kick is, I think in his own words, he said he's battling some timing issues right now.
All right, Chris, anything to add?
Yes, not in the actual knowledge of hitting, because I have none.
You're a great softball hitter, though.
I am not. If I ever figured out what to do to consistently hit in softball, I would do it. And I'm sure that Fernando probably wants to have, the lesser leg kick, because that was really working for him. But hitting, I don't believe, works that way. And you tend to get in these stretches where you can't even explain why you're doing what you're doing. And the only thing I would say is that, Tony's dad, because, I'm going to go to the best hitter I've ever seen, he would spend a week sometimes rolling over and grounding out to second base. And then he would yell at his poor son on the way home after he went 0 for 4. And that happened to one of the greatest hitters of all time. I'm sure he didn't know exactly why he was doing it, and he didn't want to do it. But you just keep on battling until you start hitting line drives again. And fortunately, Tony's dad usually did that.
All right. Good stuff, guys. I thought that was a very astute observation.
Pretty good. That clearly wasn't the angry one then, huh?
Oh, no. The angry one's right here.
Oh, we're going right to it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I did have to change the actual question because there was no actual question. It was just a statement calling us shills.
Okay, let's go with the statement. We could
hear the statement. We'll figure it out into a question. We're
okay.
We're savvy enough to do that.
Do you guys get paid to defend Padres players? Because that's what it feels like to me. Xander is garbage, but hey, don't get mad at him. Jason Hayward is barely a contributor, but hey, he's a good clubhouse guy. Wandy Peralta, he's good, we swear. In reality, he's a professional meatball thrower. Can you guys please stop ignoring the problems with this team and tell all of us Padres fans that we're not crazy for thinking this team needs improvement? That's it.
Okay.
Chris?
Yeah, I'll tackle it first. What does he want? They're 39 games into the season, or he or she. What do they want?
Sure.
39 games of the season. They're not 39-0. That's true.
That's the problem.
We understand, though, better than this person, the way baseball works. And the game is a game of failure. But ultimately, you want, to come out ahead in the end. And I don't think there's a lot of complaining to do right now when you're 25-14. I wish I got paid extra by the Padres to say nice things about them, because I would be more than willing to heap the praise on day after day if there was a check arriving in my inbox. So,
Lucky would have his own house.
Right. It's not there. And when I personally bring up a great game that Xander Bogaerts has, and he's had a few of them recently, I only bring it up to try to get those of you who have completely given up on him to just take a look at it from a different perspective. Wandy Peralta is without question throwing meatballs right now, and he's paying the price for it. And I'm more than happy to tell you that. I'm more than happy to even Monday morning quarterback decisions by Mike Schilt when he makes decisions I find questionable. But in a 25-14 season, I haven't seen many of those, and I haven't seen many negatives. And so therein lies my shilling for the Padres.
What about the fact that
which I'm unfortunately not getting paid for?
What about the fact they only scored 21 runs on Saturday night and not 22? Chris?
Well, I was disappointed. I mean, you get 2 more and you break the all-time record. You might as well do it while you're there, and you're facing, well, I guess it was their best pitcher, Jacob Stallings, the last 2 innings.
That is
the
true.
catcher. You should have at least got 2 more runs. So you're right. I was angry about that.
Tony, you have a response to this person?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, 25-14 kind of speaks for itself. And yes, I mean, we can all point out the Maldonados of the world that are hitting, just at 200. Jay Hayes hitting below 200. And those are facts, but that doesn't change what we've been saying. I mean, all the points that he brought up were actually like true. What did he say? That Jason Hayward was a good clubhouse guy? I don't think there's been any proof otherwise than that. Now, if you're saying he shouldn't be in the lineup because of it, that's something he should take up with Mike Schill. But he's on the team. He's he had a 3-run homer yesterday, the first of the year for the Padres. Something.
Yes, he broke my heart with that 3-run homer. I was hoping they would never get one.
But yeah, no, I mean, my man is just he's in his feels because he wants to be mad that those guys that he mentioned aren't playing up to
and
the level that he thinks
these people always disappear too when they start playing well, by the way.
Well, look, I understand this to a certain extent, but when Juan Soto was here and I felt like he was being a distraction, to say the least, I believe I pointed it out over and over and over again that I was not a Juan Soto fan, even to the point where it got embarrassing to me because Juan Soto kept producing at an incredibly high rate. So the fact of the matter is, when there are things that we recognize or at least feel, we do pass them along. As far as Jason Hayward's concerned, for me to tell you that he's not anything but a terrific guy and a good clubhouse presence would be lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just telling you, what it is and what the way it goes. And Tony knows it better than I do because he's there every day in the clubhouse and sees
And
it.
we've also said he's hitting below 200. So I mean, like
He's got to hit better. We've all. I don't think has
Right.
anybody not said that if he doesn't pick it up, they will probably replace him at midseason when it's time to, make a trade or a deal. They'll probably look to upgrade unless he picks it up. Yeah.
He's made some great defensive plays.
And defensively, he hasn't let any of it affect his defense, and that's a great point.
Not at all. All right. I skipped all the other angry ones because we need to get to the end here. This one is about the schedule. So this person wrote in, I was looking at the schedule and realized the Padres just got back from a 9-game road trip. Sorry, Tony. They get 6 games at home. And then, sorry, Tony, back on the road all the way to Toronto. From Toronto, from Toronto, they go to Atlanta, and then they're back home. So I know all teams do this, but if we're looking at the schedule as a strength, Tony, is it a good thing they have so many East Coast games this early in the year?
I don't know. It sucks. I can tell you that.
Just back-to-back East Coast trips.
Yeah, it's tough.
And they have done us no favors. We go to the East Coast at least another 3 times too, by the way. Like, we're not close to done. We got this one coming up. We got a one in Philly coming up in June. We got the one after the break where it's DC, Miami, and another spot.
Not that you've been looking ahead, Tony.
Yeah, no. Safe to say I've looked ahead quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is it good or bad? I don't know. It's good, I guess, if you're playing well. Then it don't really matter. I think you'd like to get these out of the way as early as possible. So ultimately, the back end, we go back one more time in September, but August and September are pretty friendly as it pertains to how far we have to go.
Yeah, it's a lot of West Coast stuff. Chris, is it a good thing they have so many East Coast games this early in the year?
I don't really know.
I was thinking you don't get the Atlanta heat in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, but you're going to get somebody else's humidity in
St.
August.
Louis, most likely.
Not only that, Chris, you're getting these rain delays. We had 4 straight before we got it right.
Yeah, I don't really know. Look, the schedule is what it is, and everybody plays the same teams. But this is ultimately baseball's fault, and they could fix it by returning to the unbalanced schedule where you get to play within your division a whole lot more. And it is truly a little unfair to teams like the Padres or the Mariners, for example, in the American League, because we are on the West Coast all the way. And most of the teams are where? On the East Coast.
Or Midwest.
Right.
East Coast time zone Midwest.
Nobody talks about this in St. Louis because everything's a 3-hour flight, one way or the other.
Yeah, Central travel is beautiful, man.
And Tony played in Milwaukee. He did get to experience it. But unless you're going to give me a road trip where the Padres play 15 road series in a row on the East Coast, there's no other way to do it than to go back and forth 4 or 5 times. And unless you change the schedule back and give yourself some more West Coast games. And baseball doesn't want to do that right now.
They do not want to do that.
So there you go.
All right. Thanks, guys, for Padres Pen Pals. When we get back, I have put a lot of work into these Chris versus the fans questions, and I have some good ones, I believe.
And in the segment after that, I'm going to give a glowing report on the first 39 games of the Padres because I'm waiting for my paycheck. I'm in.
Okay. I was like, okay, I need to put this on the schedule.
Nothing but love for the Padres. I hope they're listening.
All right. 833-288-0973. Chris versus the fans when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
It's time to hit the ice for the NHL playoffs. I'm Kate Constable, here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM network. The Vegas Golden Knights now bounce back with a win tonight and take a commanding 3-1 series lead.
Stay low. Hands on the heart. Stay low. you idiot. Right. Typical tandem student right there.
I tried. I wrecked your good job, buddy.
Fun, huh?
You need help with anything?
Okay, I'm moving.
Is it time, Chris Ello? Tony Gwynn Jr. He's at Petco Park. Where Scraby and I are also going to be tonight. It is the Scrabinator game. Angels, Padres. Scraby will actually be exiting the show just a tad early so we can get down there, get things prepared for the throng, the folks that are coming down to enjoy the Scrabinator game. I understand, according to Scraby, that there were several hundred people who signed up to try to win tickets for the game tonight. Only 20 lucky winners were chosen.
Yes.
And they'll be down there in the Odyssey Suite to see the Padres and Halos tonight with some delicious food provided by our friends at Spiro's.
I can't wait. I've actually didn't eat a big lunch, so I can eat a bunch of Spiro's.
Grab some Spiro's. I did run into Nate the other day.
Oh, yes, he did say that. At Costco?
Yes.
Oh, he's Reckoner on the chat.
Okay. I ran into Nate at Costco the other day, said he's a big fan mostly of the Scraby show, but says he's on the chat often.
He is.
And I don't know if he put this on the chat, but he was upset at whoever chose the winners for tonight's Scraby game because he did not get picked.
There is there's one thing about this Scrabinator game that I can't stand.
I know that there's 190 people or 300 plus people who don't win. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
you can't choose everyone, right?
And I truly did it random.
Right,
so
it's totally at random.
There's maybe like 3 or 4 people that I have met before. The rest of the people there I have not met.
Yeah. That's just the way it goes. But Nate, good running into you the other day at Costco. Appreciate you checking in on the show. Sorry I couldn't do anything about getting you into the ball game tonight. A couple of quick notes, and then Chris versus the Fans checks in. September 4th, circle it on your calendar. Thursday Night Football. The NFL's 2025 regular season opener will feature the Super Bowl champion Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. I will say this. Between those two teams, there'll be definitely somebody to root against. Whether you hate the Eagles or hate the Cowboys, or maybe you hate them both.
I do.
That'll be the season opener as announced by the National Football League today. The rest of the schedule comes out on Wednesday, Scrabe, by the way.
Wednesday.
And there's some other schedule news, but I'll get into it a little later. We don't have time at the moment. One last thing, Mike Trout and the Halos are in town tonight. And Mike Trout is here. He did make the road trip.
I was thinking his IL stay is almost done.
He said Saturday that it'll still be some time before he's ready. He said, I don't have a day for my return, but I feel great. Really? Obviously not that great. So he's not back in the lineup yet for the Halos.
There's nothing that drives me more nuts.
I know. Jackson Merrill, after missing the game yesterday in Denver, he was a little ill. He's feeling better. He's in the lineup tonight for the Padres. Okay, Scrabe, let's play ball. Chris versus the Fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, you're going to be playing for something pretty good. You'll be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a trip to see Bruno Mars in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to a show at Dolby Live at Park MGM on September 3rd, 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gift card. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you'll get that question for free today.
And you've been working hard on questions, you say.
I have been, actually.
Good.
If you know what happened over the weekend, that'll help you a little bit.
Okay.
But let me situate my screens. And there we go. Let's get our first contestant. We'll go to Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy.
How you doing?
Very good, Jeremy. Very good. Good luck to you.
First time player.
First time. Okay, we are fired up for that.
It sounds like you are.
I'm ready, man. I like my first time players.
All right, Jeremy, here we go. Question number 2.
Good luck.
Jeez, that was loud.
Oh, wow.
Always.
Oh, man. Ooh.
All right. Hopefully you watched the games over the weekend, but who hit the Padres' first 3-run home run of the season on Saturday?
Hayward.
Hey, he's on it. Jeremy was on that, man. 160 plus chances.
Yes.
Before finally, and then it only took like one more chance to get the second one. Because Fernando came up the next inning. And
I was like, what? No, duh. Yes. Right. All right, here we go. Third question. If Jeremy gets this right or Chris gets it wrong, then we are done.
All right.
What team did Fernando Tatis Jr. hit 2 homers in a game against earlier this year?
This year?
That's
cold. Fernando had a 2 home run game this year, you're saying?
Let's go Pirates.
This is the Buccos.
The Buccos.
2 homer game against the Bucks.
Stay
Fernando.
there. Stay there.
That was the Cub game.
Oh,
they blew them
I
out
thought we were
10-4.
gonna be done.
Sorry, they crushed them.
Sorry, Jeremy. Thank you for playing.
Part of that nice second homestand, I think it was, of the year. Beat the Rockies 3 straight, and then the Cubs came in and they kept swinging the bats.
They did.
Fernando.
Reckoner
As
says,
a matter of fact, I think that took them to like 10-0 at home or something. Remember, they didn't lose their first 9 or 10 home games.
Yes. I won't. His
what?
Reckoner's name is Vincent, not Nate.
Oh, my God.
It's
Vincent.
okay. It's okay. We have tons of Nates.
Sorry about that, Vincent. Man, I run into people.
Vincent's
My
okay.
bad.
Vincent's a good dude. So
He was a nice guy, and I feel really bad.
all right. No, you're fine.
No, I'm not.
No, he thinks it's funny.
Sorry about that.
He said he does look like a Nate too. So
Right. You look like a Nate, but you're a Vincent.
Right. Let's go to our next contestant. We're gonna go to Frank in La Mesa. Hello,
Hi, Frank.
Hey, fellas. It's a great day for baseball.
It
Yeah,
is
let's
a great
play
day
some
for
ball.
baseball. You
I like
ready?
it, Frank. He's ready.
All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
Question number 1.
Vincent. Oh God. I'm not. That's going to bother me like the rest of the day.
I shouldn't have said anything.
No, you should. I'm glad you did.
How many runs did the Padres score against the Rockies on Saturday night?
That would be Blackjack 21.
21 is correct.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. However you want to look at it.
All right, question number 2. All right, I already asked you who hit the. No, never mind. Sorry. Which team is currently in first place of the AL Central?
AL Central. Is it a 2-pointer?
AL Central. Would that be the 20s?
The Twinnies. The Twinkies. I think he meant.
Twinnies. Stay there.
They're way ahead. The Tigers. They have like the best record in the league. Sorry,
Frank.
Twins have won 8 in a row. I will say that. As have the Cardinals. I didn't even aware that the Cardinals had won 8 in a row.
I wasn't either. I think they played 2 doubleheaders last week, maybe.
And swept them both. Both teams 8 game win streaks for the Cardinals and Twins right now.
All right.
Sorry, Frank.
Let's go to our next.
But I understand it because we always say on this show the AL Central is where teams just basically go to
die.
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't hear of them anymore.
Let's go to Ron. Hello, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Ready to play?
Thank you. Yep.
Here
He's
we
ready.
go. What was the result of Aaron Judge's lone hit against the Padres last week?
He only had 1 hit in
Home
that
run.
series.
Home run is
Home
correct.
run.
And it was a cheapie, too.
That's right. It just dropped
Off
over
the
the
king.
fence.
Yeah, only like 2 parks in baseball would have.
No, he wasn't giving it back.
Ooh, real quick. I got fooled last week, Chris, on a stat that they were going to introduce, Major League Baseball was going to introduce something called true home runs, which was going to measure, and it was all fake. And I thought about it. I put it into the Big Five. I did all, and I realized it was fake, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It's annoying to me. I mean, look, okay, because Aaron Judge does get a lot of home runs at a Yankee Stadium that wouldn't be homers.
But he's a right-handed
elsewhere.
hitter, so he's not using that left porch as much.
But this is
right porch. I'm sorry.
I'm already driven crazy by enough of these statistics. I mean, you're going to start taking home runs away from guys.
No.
Saying,
It's nothing
well,
like that.
It doesn't count because he wasn't.
No. It'd be like you would still get your home run count, but then the true home run will be how many would have been out in every single ballpark.
I know what you're saying. I get it.
It's a fake post, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
but
good.
I thought about it long and hard.
It may happen, just not quite yet.
Okay. Ron, here we go. Question number 2. Let's see. What football team, NFL team, was George Pickens traded to last week?
He's got this.
I have no clue. I'll say the Bears. I don't know.
The Bears. I know Chris knows this.
He'll be playing on opening night for the Cowboys against the Eagles. Sorry about
Ron.
that. Had to know that one.
All right.
Yeah.
All righty then.
All righty then. All right,
Let's go.
all right, Jim Carrey.
All righty then.
All righty then. Do you
Let's
know
go
who's in an 0 for 23 slump right now?
What team?
And 5 for his last 40 with 1 home run in the last 25 games.
I don't know why, but Logan O'Hoppe hit my head.
Ozzie Albies.
Oh.
Just a random guy that's in a big slump for the Braves. It happens to a lot of guys is what I guess I bring that up sometimes because when it happens to a Padre guy, of course we want to, part with them forever.
Yes. DFA.
Go ahead.
Let's go to Mark. Hello, Mark.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi, Mark.
Pretty good. All
Good to
right.
have you on.
Here we go. Question number 1. Rafael Devers was asked by the Red Sox last week to play what position, to which he said no.
First base.
First
right.
base is correct.
Very good.
And then he went on a tear over the weekend. We'll get to that.
That's a smart thing to do when you
say no.
something.
You got to
just
perform.
Go out and hit, and then they can't do much about it.
And he's doing that. All right, question number 2. All right, we already asked the first one. Who hit the Padres' second 3-run home run of the season over the weekend?
Fernando
is correct.
It's about the only big hit Fernando's had lately. We've been talking
say
about him
that.
slumping a little bit.
A little bit. He's still hitting, I think, 320.
Yes, he was way up there. So, but he's dropped.
I think Jackson Merrill's, and I know he's had way less at bats, but he's in the 400s still. It's incredible. All right, question number 3 for Mark.
Just to finish that up with Fernando, he's currently at 320. It was about 2 weeks ago. He was 361. So
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Okay.
Mark, who is the only Padre to hit 3 home runs in a game at Coors Field?
Ever?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that could be a lot of guys.
Man. I want to say Mike Cameron, but I don't think that's right.
It's gonna be a shot in the dark.
I was going to pass the.
Okay.
It's gonna
That's
pass.
that's smart.
A little strategy.
That's smart. Pass.
Passes. Wow, that is incorrect though.
Yes, pass is incorrect, Chris.
The only player to hit 3 home runs in a game at Coors Field for the Padres. I mean, come on. They play like 200 games there. Will Myers.
Oh, wow. That's a great
I have no idea.
guess.
It's not a great guess if it's wrong. Yeah, it's good for
Mark,
you, though.
Nice
Mark, you're a
job.
winner.
Stay right there.
That Will
Winner.
Myers might have had a big day. I'm going to probably remember this. Who was it?
I was working the board for this game. Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah, wouldn't have come
It
up
was a
with
Friday
Hunter.
night. The game was just cruising.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Mhm.
It was like, this was pre-pitch clock. Games could take 3 hours, 40 minutes if you wanted it to.
Right.
And then I don't know what the final score was, but they ended up trading home runs, and Fernando hit a home run, but Hunter Renfroe hit 3. It was pretty awesome.
One of those crazy ones.
One of those crazy ones.
Good for you, Mark. By the way, Jason Dominguez, the Martian, hit 3 the other night for the Yankees against the Athletics. Had a big game. Suarez.
Wait, you said he hit 3?
Yeah, Jason Dominguez over the
great.
weekend.
That's why I lost fantasy, because I think I
you
was
played
playing
against him. All right. You lost fantasy because you're just not good this year, and it's
Chris,
okay. You've been good for 2 years. It's coming back to you this year.
Chris, I will tell you this right now. You want to know what place I'm in the standings? Double champ.
Last?
I'm in last right now. My record is 21-37-2.
That's okay.
I got so many injured guys on my team. It's ridiculous.
Still time to change that.
I hope.
Eugenio Suarez has a 3 home run game this year, and he actually had 4, right?
And they lost that game.
Jose Ramirez.
He's got a 3-run homer game?
According to this, he had a 3-run home game on April 4th. I don't remember it. Ivan Herrera, the Cardinals, I remember. Aaron Judge has had one as well. Anyway, there's your 3 home run guys this year.
I haven't been paying attention as close as
I know. I haven't either to a lot of stuff out there. You want a break? I thought you wanted to stretch.
No, we
got
need a break
another
now.
minute to go.
We need to break now.
He says, check traffic then.
From the
feeling pretty comfortable on the mound right now, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself and just think I can bully anybody out there. We're going to keep doing the same process we've been at and just try and keep the momentum we have.
What do you think of the runs?
Stephen Kolek, a shutout at Coors Field on Saturday night. Only the second Padre ever to do it. A complete game shutout at Coors Field. That's saying something. Andy Ashby had been the previous. Kolek, according to Scravy, though, no big deal. Kolek is only he's only beaten the Pirates and the Rockies, the two worst hitting teams in the league.
See, I hate it when you do that
doesn't
because
mean anything.
people tune in, they're like, "Oh, Scravy said that," and I presented it as an argument, and not that I believed it.
I'm giving you a chance to defend yourself, and you just did.
Okay,
but you were still the one who brought it to my attention that it doesn't count.
That's what I see on the
I know people are,
interwebs.
well, I'm answering all of you people who say this. Nick Pivetta gave up 6 runs to those very same Rockies the next day. So give Stephen Kolek his due.
That is weird.
He is due his due.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, the NBA draft lottery is going on right now. Cooper Flagg is sweating it out because he's going to be the assumed number 1 pick. And I think it's down to 4 teams now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this in the Big Five, but
yeah, we'll talk about it some more in the Big Five as far as what's happened to the lottery.
It's not a
big
thing
deal anymore.
They're trying to make it a big deal.
They're doing their best. It's down to the Spurs, Hornets, or Sixers right now for the services, most likely. Oh no,
the
I take it back.
Mavs.
The Mavs were the other one, and they got it.
How did the Mavs get a number 1 overall pick? They weren't like terrible last year.
They apparently had a 1-point-something odd % chance, and it came through for them.
Wow.
Well,
see, I don't like that. It doesn't help.
All right, it'll help the Mavericks. Take that, Luka Doncic.
Maybe that's why the NBA gave it to him.
They now have Anthony Davis. They now are going to get Cooper Flagg. They are going to return Crazy Kyrie.
Don't call him that.
The Dallas Mavericks may win the NBA championship before the Lakers win it.
I mean, with Cooper Flagg, that is
after the trade of Luka was called the worst trade in the history of the league by 99% of the people.
And now they're going to be just fine. I wonder how the fans are reacting when they draft Cooper Flagg. They're going to be like, "Oh, I hate this franchise."
I know. Do you still hate the Mavericks now?
That is
all you people in Dallas who gave up on the franchise after trading Luka.
M. McKee says, "Karma is wild."
Karma's. Thank you, man. Yeah, I agree there. Karma, man. The Mavericks took endless for that trade, and nothing went their way. They lost Anthony Davis and Kyrie for the season. Anthony came back, but it was too late. Now they win the number 1 overall pick against all odds.
Yeah,
right.
That is crazy. I can't honestly believe that.
It's surprising, but that's the lottery.
Cooper Flagg's like, yes, I get to go to Dallas.
Well, I think you'd rather go to Dallas. I don't know. The other choice, San Antonio, could have played with Wemby.
Yeah, but that
Philadelphia, he could have, not played with Embiid. Or Charlotte would have been probably the one he didn't want.
Yeah, no one wants to go to the Jazz. No one wants to go to the Wizards.
Doesn't matter. He's going to the Dallas Mavericks.
What if they don't?
Good pickup.
What if they don't pick Cooper?
Yeah, they don't
Flagg?
have to. They don't have to. It's not the law, but they probably will. All right, so the NBA lottery is done for the year.
Man, that was a great show they put on, Chris.
Celtics and Knicks tip off shortly from New York City. You know, I'll tell you how big the lottery is. The commish of the NBA doesn't even show up.
That's a good point.
It's like some other guy comes out there that they hide in the mothballs all year, and they trot him out for the lottery.
He just smells like mothballs.
Yes, there's like some guy. I don't know who he is. All right, 0-0 Caps and Canes NHL Stanley Cup game underway. First period in Raleigh, North Carolina. Diamondbacks making a little news.
What?
They're calling up their top prospect. Shortstop Jordan Lawler has been recalled. I don't know exactly what they're going to do here. Geraldo Perdomo hasn't been too bad at shortstop this year. 292 with 5 homers, 30 RBIs. So they'll have to figure it out. Maybe Perdomo will be DH. Maybe Lawler will move around the infield. But Diamondbacks bring up one of their better prospects today. Just a note, and I told you Ozzy Albies is having big trouble. He's in a big slump. Not as bad as Cleveland Guardian shortstop Brian Rocchio. Started last year for the Guards. He's been sent to the minor leagues now, hitting .206. All right, there you go, Scrape. Big Five next. Gwynn and Chris.
Memorial Day savings are
To get to today.
Hold on.
No, I can't wait, man. You said hurry.
Hold on.
Said hurry.
I did. I didn't know it was going to go like that.
Buccaneers won it a few years ago. They hosted the Cowboys in the season opening game.
You're right, they did, but the Cowboys were a little bit better back then.
They were a little
too.
better then. I don't know that the 49ers didn't host the Cowboys a couple of years ago after they won the Super Bowl.
No, they haven't won.
Oh, they haven't won the Super Bowl.
That was
right.
a jerk move.
My bad. My bad. I didn't mean to remind you about that. No, look, I'm tired. The America's team, honestly, I think the NFL feels it's still there. I think we, as a football fan base, are kind of done with the America's team. Doesn't mean that we're going to watch the game, even if they played the Jaguars. It's the opening game of the season. We're excited. But I don't think there's any extra special matchup thing here with the Cowboys. And I don't think most people do either.
All right. Tony, are you pumped up about this matchup?
I'm pumped up because it's football.
Yeah.
I'm pumped up. The Cowboys will just do what the Cowboys do. They may win this game. They may have us all fooled during the regular season, but we know at some point they're going to cowboy it up.
They are going to cowboy it up.
They're going to cowboy it up.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys didn't really do anything to deserve to be in this game.
They did.
Honestly, other than, the NFL thinks they're, somebody that we care about. I mean, what'd they win last year? 7-8 games? If that.
I don't
Fired
know.
their
It
coach.
wasn't
Now
good.
they have Brian Schottenheimer, who I don't think anybody's going to tune in to see a coach.
I agree with you.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's no more Mike McCarthy.
They hired as their coach.
I mean, they got George Pickens now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think they could have found a better matchup, but they think they have the best matchup. But
I know.
I disagree with them. I think the Cowboys that ship has sailed.
It's very annoying. All right. That was announced today. Whoops. I need to make it a little bit louder.
Number 2.
I think this is going to be the last time we'll talk about this in the Big Five until something actually happens with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend.
Oh, well, we're going to talk about it one more time.
One last time.
If you're going where I think you're going, I don't think.
Where do you think I'm going?
I think you're going to go to the report that says he may never even coach a game for North Carolina.
You are
now.
absolutely right, because former ESPN reporter Pablo Torre, who has been all over this for some reason, was on the Dominique Foxworth show. Didn't even know that was a thing.
No.
And said he thinks it's possible that Belichick never coaches a game for North Carolina. In fact, Torrey points out to the June 1st deadline as Belichick's out. So he can get out after June 1st when his buyout drops significantly. So here is a little bit more from Pablo Torre on the situation.
Pablo.
Let's hear from Pablo.
The question everybody is asking is, are things so dysfunctional behind the scenes when it comes to the power struggle, when it comes to what they are telling Bill to do? Don't have Jordan around anymore. Stop behaving in the way that you have. Basically telling him for the first time, really, right, that you're an employee and not the boss of this building in the way that he may have been assuming he would be. Then there is the ability for him to get out of it. And that's before you even consider the fact that stuff is so crazy when it comes to how his family feels, how the people around the school feel.
Whoops, I think I clicked it again.
I think you got enough of it.
Yeah, I think I actually... Oh, I didn't actually click it again. That's good. I was waiting for it to start over again because
good.
I thought
think
I
we're
was
good.
clicking it. But
We good.
I'm not going where you think I'm going with this, because I actually got this question from one of the comments underneath this whole thing. And it says, in the comment basically said, hey, since you're predicting that he's not going to coach a game for North Carolina, would you also put your career on the line and say you'll never report again if you are wrong? So I know this is a jokey joke question, Tony. Would you like to see reporters who, quote unquote, report rumors as fact be reprimanded?
No. You know what I'd like to see?
What?
What I'd like to see is for people who listen to said report, stop listening to that person. Right?
Okay.
That is how it used to work, right? If you wrote something that was inaccurate, people stopped believing it.
Yeah.
And therefore they didn't read your stuff anymore. They didn't listen to your stuff anymore, right?
Yeah.
So if Pablo Torres ends up being dead wrong, by the way, this is old story. They were already arguing this when Bill Belichick first took the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, the out is in June. He's gonna be
He
gone
can
by
still
then."
coach an NFL team.
Right, 100%. So this is like kind of old news. Now, maybe the stuff that's new is that there's some dysfunction. By the way, so dysfunctional that North Carolina came out and said, "Hey, we didn't say that."
Yeah.
But there's just so much, great nonsense happening right now. I'm just like, if he ends up opting out in June, Pablo's credibility goes through the roof. If he doesn't, he shouldn't be punished. His punishment should be that people stop tuning into his podcast because they don't think, or they stop tuning into it for news like that, right? Because the credibility is now in question.
I never even considered that because I know that people won't do that. So,
Well,
but it's true.
I don't think we should be punishing people. I mean, what's you guys put them in jail? Like,
no. Just revoke their reporting license.
I mean, I don't know.
Scrappy says no more. As Pablo Estore gets no more credentials ever.
There we go.
I guess you could do something like that, but I would prefer that people take it into their own hands. I mean, if you're going to be outraged about him reporting this, then when he gets it wrong, maybe that's your response. Is I'm not listening to this cat no more.
That's the rational thought, Tony. But a good one.
maybe
one.
That is too rational.
No,
but
Tony has always been the rational voice on this show.
Yes, he has.
Because God knows you and I are not rational about anything.
No, we are not. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I think Tony hit it. I was going to answer the same. It's funny. Before you asked the question, I was kind of calculating how I was going to say what Tony just said. Is the fact. I mean, he's putting all this out there. North Carolina has denied all of it, and so to me, he's not even really taking much of a risk,
right?
Because we all expect him to be wrong and just go, well, he didn't know, or he can blame his sources or whatever. But if he's right, he's the one lone voice out there that's saying this is going to happen and he's going to ride the wave. But I agree with Tony. I hope if he ends up being wrong and he's been spewing a lot of information that's totally incorrect, that I hope people take that into account next time when a producer is saying, hey, should we bring on Pablo Estore as a guest? Nah,
Where
not
did
anymore.
S come from? It's
But
just
that
his
might-
name.
that-
It's just Pablo Torre.
No, he goes by Pablo
puts it-
Estore. He puts
he
that in
does
there
put
all the
S on there
time.
sometimes,
I did not know that.
I'm just saying, look, that's Tony's right. That's what should happen. But if he's right, he's going to ride a great wave. He's getting 1 million clicks. He's getting a lot of attention, and that in a lot of ways is unfortunate. But if he's right, he's going to go through the roof.
That is the gig. That is the gig right there. Is that it doesn't matter if he's right or wrong.
Yeah,
people will tune in because he said it.
Yeah, and if he says tomorrow, I have an update on the Belichick situation, everyone's going to tune in again.
Exactly.
But I hope Tony's right that if he ends up being flat out wrong, which I think he will be, that we take that into consideration moving forward.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think he's just doing this for attention. I don't know why he's so concerned with Bill Belichick. That would be weird to wake up and be like, I need to call 11 of the sources that knew Jordan Hudson.
Look, he's onto something, and he knows he's onto something. TMZ is carrying his reports and discussing them. I mean, he's getting massive attention for this. He stumbled onto something, and he's smart enough to at least try to ride the wave, even if it crashes and burns at the end.
Number one.
All right. So while the NBA playoffs are going on, did you know the NBA draft lottery is happening tonight, guys?
Barely.
Well, Chris had to tell me before the show.
Barely,
They are, and this was an event I actually remember checking in all the time because I thought it was awesome. You do the lottery, you see who gets the number one pick, you have all of them sitting there. But lately, I barely even know what's happening. Chris, what happened to the NBA draft lottery?
They made it. I'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, when I was in Los Angeles covering the Lakers for the newspaper back in the glory days of the Lakers, the one day of the calendar year that the Clippers were the big deal in LA was the day of the draft lottery because they were always in it. And actually, Donald Sterling used to have what he called the white party. Yep, at his house.
I did hear about this.
And I somehow got invited to one as a reporter to cover the reaction when, to see where they got the pick. So I remember this happening every year as if it was the biggest deal. But what has happened to the lottery since then is that they've made it too fair. And what it is now, there's very little intrigue because the teams with the worst record have it weighted so much in their favor to end up with the top pick that it's not as fun as it used to be. It used to be where the Knicks could end up with Patrick Ewing. The Spurs could get David Robinson and then follow it up with Tim Duncan a couple years later. It wasn't weighted in the way it is. They used to just take all the 12 teams that didn't make the playoffs and throw them into a basket and pick them out one at a time. Now it's fair. But the fact that it's fair gives me no reason to tune in because I already pretty much know the result.
All right. Tony, what happened to the NBA lottery?
I don't think the lottery's ever really been that popular. Even with tune in, it's just the lottery, right? I think maybe the first couple years it was fun to watch the little lottery balls bounce around, but they don't do it like that.
That was fun
anymore. And so, yeah, I don't know that this has ever really been that much of an attraction to people. I think, the actual draft is more of a thing, but I don't know that the lottery.
Scraby doesn't like the lottery because they do all of the selections off stage behind the scenes. Scraby doesn't even believe these guys.
Yeah, they didn't used to do it that way.
No, they used to actually roll the dice out there on the stage.
You know why? So they can fix it, guys.
I see. That's why I said
I loved when they put the ping pong balls in there.
That's what I'm
the
just
little
saying.
thing went right, and then they picked it out. Come on.
To me, that was some intrigue there.
Yes, there was some intrigue there. All right, that's it for the Big Five, guys. When we get back on 97.3 The Fan, last segment before I depart for the Scrabinator game.
Yeah,
and we will get you set for the game between the Angels and the Padres tonight on 97.3 The Fan.
Here's Kelly Danick.
let's get into it. Happy hour underway. Final hour of Gwynn and Chris. Actually, final half hour or happy hour is brought to you by GL Pools. They are the swimming pool experts, and they are trusted by thousands of San Diegans and have been trusted since 2006. Baseball's back, so is swim season. Call now. Mention radio, and you get a free month of pool service. Thank you to our friends at GL Pools. Thank you to our friends at Spiro's, who are providing the catering for tonight's Scrabinator baseball game.
Heck yeah.
It's out at Petco Park. Padres Angels. Scraby will be hosting dozens of his closest friends in the Odyssey Suite. And you're heading on over there in just a little bit to get things organized.
If I can get everything together, I might be.
All right, you're hoping to get out. We will be here till 5:35 or so, and then Sam Levitt has the Padre pregame show. Knicks and Celtics are underway. Game 4 in New York. Knicks 24, Celtics 23. First quarter. That despite Derek White, Boston off to a 4-for-4 start from the arc. That's good. Good shooting.
So they're going to shoot 83s.
They've shot 15 so far tonight, the Celtics have. So they're on pace for another 60 tries like they did in game 1 and lost that one.
That's kind of ridiculous.
NHL 1-0 Carolina over Washington at the end of the first period. If you're just tuned in, the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA lottery tonight, despite a 1.8% chance to do so. The Mavericks will add, or most expect them to add, Cooper Flagg to a roster that now has Anthony Davis and a returning Kyrie Irving. Luka Doncic was traded to the Lakers, for Davis. All of a sudden now Dallas looks okay. And the Lakers have big question marks after the way they fell out of the playoffs unceremoniously. Did you know that Cooper Flagg came out of high school, left a year early from high school?
I actually did know that. I did know that.
I did not know. He graduated a year early from high school, went to Duke as a 17-year-old, and now he's, as an 18-year-old, about ready to go right to the NBA ranks. I didn't realize that part.
I realized that he was really, really young. I think he was even. Did you just say he's 18?
He's 18 now. He went to college at 17.
Yeah, 17. That's crazy.
Right. Cooper Flagg, Mavericks win the draft lottery. Good news for them. Bad news for Utah, Washington, and Charlotte, all who came into the evening with the best odds of winning the lottery.
How do you feel for them?
Fine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Get a better team and don't be in the lottery next year. To me, being in the lottery is not something you should ascribe to doing.
No, I agree.
So, get better. Win some games. Spend some money. Improve your team. We also mentioned that Dallas Cowboys get the opening night draw against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are the Super Bowl defending champs. There were some other possibilities, Scraby. Could have gone with Lions, Eagles, which I think would have been
that would have been
good.
better. I would have been in on that.
Could have done that. Could have even gone Bears, Eagles. You could have done Rams, Eagles, reprise of their playoff game a year ago. But they went Cowboys, Eagles. It's the second time in 5 years that the Cowboys have been chosen as the kickoff opponent. A couple years ago in 2021, they opposed the Buccaneers in the opener. The Super Bowl champion, by the way, has played the opening game the following season in all but one of the last 20 years.
Oh.
The only year it didn't happen was after New England's umpteenth Super Bowl in 2018. The next year, they chose a Packers-Bears game to kick off instead. But otherwise, the Super Bowl champ always does play on opening day the next year. The rest of the NFL schedule will be out on Wednesday, Scraby. And do you know, according to these statistics, which are factual, so there's no arguing them, do you know which team will have the easiest schedule in the National Football League next year?
Dolphins.
How about the 49ers?
Take goodness.
Yeah, they will.
Don't give me. I don't even care about this. Oh, your team doesn't play anybody. I don't care.
I know you don't. They have a last place schedule. They finished last.
That could work really well for them.
Going to help them out. They got the easiest schedule according to this. Their opponents will have a winning percentage of .415 from last year. Results. Actually, who they play and when they play them will be announced on Wednesday. But we know who everybody plays.
Yes,
because the NFL schedule is it's just a way of they just look at it and it's already figured out.
I don't need all this pomp and circumstance over everything.
I do. I love the schedule reveal.
This makes no sense to me because you're a guy who just wants it in front of him.
But I want to know the schedule.
You want to sit in front of the TV for 3 hours watch it?
No, I just read it when it comes out. No, I won't. You're right. I won't sit there and watch TV
I'm talking about.
While they breathlessly reveal it. No, I don't care about.
Oh, well, the Jaguars are taking on the Texans in Week 12. This is going to be a division game.
No, that I don't care about. But when they get the schedule out, I like to know. A couple of other quick notes. Chargers are playing a game, this, in Brazil this year. They've been chosen. And apparently the Chiefs will be their opponent. That is according to Front Office Sports. But like I said, the rest of the schedule will be out on Wednesday.
It doesn't exactly always pay to be a Chief because you have to do all these fun games that the NFL thinks is fun.
They're fun, but trip to Brazil may not be that fun. Ask the Packers and Eagles last year.
The Eagles.
Neither of them enjoyed being there.
No, they hated it.
Here's one for me, Scrape. Saturday, December 27th, Week 17. For the fourth year in a row, Peacock will get an exclusive NFL game that I won't watch.
Well, you are still signed up, so.
That was the joke that I signed up for that one playoff game, and they never let me cancel.
Never.
I know. All right, we got to get to a quick break. Matt Snyder talking baseball with Tony and I. If you missed it, don't miss it again. It's coming up when we return. Welcome back. 5:19 is the time. You know, every now and again I try to do the show without my glasses on. And the remind comes really fast. I can't see anymore. I got to put them on.
Oh, that's sad.
It's pretty sad, but it's, you know.
I'll be there one day.
It's a function of putting on a couple of years, Grabe.
I'll be there one day.
Celtics have already hit 10 threes. They're just jacking them up, but they're making them so far. Boston 46, Knicks 35, second quarter, game 4. Carolina 2-0 now over Washington in the NHL game. Crisello, Matt Scraby in studio, Tony down at Petco, Padres Angels. Tonight we had a good discussion with Matt Snyder of CBS Sports about the grand old game. Here it is. Well, let's ask an expert other than us about all of this. Matt Snyder from CBS Sports is our guest, and as we always say to Matt, we're so appreciative of the time he gives us, and really enjoy talking some baseball with you, Matt. And all right, we were just kicking around the Rockies. The Pirates have also fired their manager in the last week since we've spoken. Does either organization, does either team have a chance to really improve with the new manager, or is there, just bigger problems at work here for both of these franchises?
I mean, surely, at least with the Rockies. I mean, it's funny you guys said you were kicking around the Rockies. That's what everybody does, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, 7-33. Geez. I suppose the Rockies couldn't get any worse. So I guess there's a chance that they could get better. But if you look at that personnel, man, they're horrible, absolutely horrible. Pirates, they feel like they should be better, but the front office didn't do enough for the offense in the offseason. It's just an absolutely brutal offense. I can't believe they didn't better support the pitching staff during Paul Skeens, what will be Paul Skeens' prime here for the next 2 or 3 years. Losing Jared Jones to injury definitely hurt to start the season. If you look around the rest of NL Central, I think it's pretty clear that they're the worst team there. And the Brewers, Reds, and at least until this winning streak, you could argue the Cardinals as well were not even playing as well as they could play. So I don't think that the managerial changes are going to do much besides just kind of eyewash, but the thing is, both these managers, they've been there for quite a while in terms of the shelf life of a manager in Major League Baseball. And, Bud Black, the Rockies hadn't had a winning season since 2018. I guess, and especially since he won Sunday, still gets paid through the end of the year. I don't know. Kind of feel like the Rockies might have just done Bud Black a favor. He doesn't have to keep losing.
I mean, it's kind of mind blowing in that situation, and both of those two teams have some similarities, right? Well, at least in terms of their ownership, they don't seem to really want to spend. I'm hearing that Colorado has just their whole infrastructure has to be kind of redone. They're behind the times. I mean, how long does when you are at the bare minimum, like a team like the Rockies is, how long does it take to restructure all of that and kind of get you at least moving in a direction where people can actually see light at the end of the tunnel?
It seems like a long, long time, especially how well set up the rest of the division is.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not like, at least with the Pirates, you've got Paul Skeens and Jared Jones. And if you glance around the rest of the team there, like O'Neal Cruz, 26 years old, really, really talented guy. Brian Hayes, really great defender. What if he hits a little bit? Like, there's at least pieces there on the Pirates where if they spent a little bit more, or the front office was a little more shrewd with some moves, where you could squint your way to saying, hey, they might contend sometime soon. On the Rockies, man, it's just you need a complete revamping of the entire baseball ops. It's like Tony said, they're behind the times in a lot of the analytical departments and some of the scouting departments. They need to update some things. There hasn't really been much turnover in the front office because the last time they made a change from general manager, they just promoted from within. So it's not even like they went outside the organization to try to get some new eyes on this thing. Farm system is not really highly thought of. It's really, really in a bad way. And when you look around the rest of that division, obviously the Dodgers aren't going anywhere for a long time. It doesn't seem like the Padres will. The Giants seem to be in a pretty good place. And then the Diamondbacks, again, they've got a really good foundation there, and they can spend money. So, I mean, if I was going to predict the next time the Rockies made the playoffs, I would say I wouldn't want to go sooner than like 2030.
Boy, that sounds refreshing to Rockies fans, I'm sure. Matt Snyder's our guest, of course. You mentioned the Dodgers, and we'll get to the Padres in a second. I love your comments on our team, but I was saying to Tony, they got the split there in Arizona. Gonsolin gave them a nice lift yesterday, but all the injuries and Blake Snell apparently not getting any better, and Glass now not getting any better, and bullpen pieces missing. And what are they going to do with Michael Conforto, who can't get a hit all of a sudden, and Max Muncy having a power outage? The Dodgers are built to withstand a lot, Matt. How much more can they withstand? Or can we potentially see a little slippage here for the next month or two?
I mean, it feels like they've kind of already dealt with a lot of it since they started 8-0, and they have the best record in baseball. So they can withstand a lot. Now, the starting pitching does seem like it could become an issue, but it's Shohei Ohtani is now supposedly making progress. Clayton Kershaw is supposedly making progress. You don't know how much either one of those guys are going to hold up. And I think the bigger concerns, big picture, are Snell and Glass now, right? Because you have to figure if they're looking at a playoff rotation, Yamamoto, Snell, Glass now, those are the three ace type guys. And then whoever's going best, maybe it's Ohtani by then, maybe not. It really seems like they're slow playing it to the point that you have to worry if something else is going on. But to lose those guys, maybe it's Gonsolin who gets hot, maybe it's May. They just have so much depth. It just sounds ridiculous to talk about them having 7 starting pitchers on the injured list, and that doesn't even include Ohtani. Technically, Ohtani, the pitcher, is also on the shelf. Right. So basically, it's 8 starting pitchers on the injured list, and when you look at Yamamoto, Sasaki, May, Gonsolin, that's 4 kind of regular starting pitching types. The thing is on Sasaki, though, it does seem like if they weren't in this situation, maybe they would send him down to the minors to work on some stuff. Right now, as he looks to transition to the majors, it's not going well right now. And as you said, they have issues in the lineup as well, but they still sit there with the best record in baseball. They do seem more vulnerable than a lot of people thought they would be, though. Yeah. And I think that's what you were getting at there.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. I would caution everybody that it is only May 12th, and there's a lot of time for all those dudes we just talked about to get healthy and turn the corner. There's plenty of time
for them, Tony, to buy a whole bunch of new guys. They have to do that.
That is certainly an option as well. I want to ask you a little bit about the Padres, because coming into the season, it certainly seemed like the Dodgers were the runaway favorite, and they could just go away and hide. I think since the season has started, I think the Padres have reminded everybody how good their offense can be when they are healthy. They've kind of weathered the storm with some of the injuries they had early. Do you think the perception is a little bit different now that we've got into the season as it pertains to the Padres and Dodgers?
A little bit. I mean, I think if you just look at the division, the sentiment was Dodgers head and shoulders above everybody else. Diamondbacks really, really strong contender. Rockies, we don't need to talk about them again. Giants, everybody thought, I think, were ticketed for 4th place there. So it was the Padres in 3rd. Are they mediocre? Do they have enough depth here? I think right now they're ahead of where everybody thought they would be. And it's not like they haven't had adversity. Like you said, we know there's starting pitchers on the shelf. They dealt without Jackson Merrill for a long time, and especially the way Merrill's hitting right now. It's like, hey, look how much more damage they could have been doing if Merrill had been healthy all year. And there were dry spells from like Xander Bogaerts to start the year, for example. Arias had the concussion issue. They have not been without their share of adversity, and they're just chugging along offensively. And really, there's ways that you could kind of say, I think I could find some areas where they could improve as well. So they seem formidable.
Matt Snyder is with us from CBS Sports, and we read his stuff on CBS Sports, as should you, if you are a baseball fan out there. Matt, we're still a little ahead of trade deadline time. What names are you hearing that might be out there, could be available? And I don't know that the Padres are going to be in a situation to make a lot of trades this time around, because they have parted with a lot of their, minor league talent in the past couple of years. But are there some guy? I mean, is Nolan Arenado still out there? And give me
not right now.
He's not out there because they've won 8 in a row.
No,
right?
Yes.
So that
they're only a
changed.
game out behind the Cubs, so there's no way they could. And he's one of the guys hitting the best during their winning streak are the vets. It's Nolan Arenado and Wilson Contreras. So as of now, no. But let's keep an eye on them, because the Cardinals are at Philly and at Kansas City this week, and then next week they come home. But they have the Tigers and somebody else good at White Egg and Diamondbacks. So in the next 2 weeks, if they start dropping a bunch of games, then you can start thinking about Arenado being back on the shelf again. But for now, he's a hold right now. The biggest thing that everybody's already talked about was Sandy Alcantara, the former Cy Young winner, but he is not cooperating with the trade rumors right now because he's just gotten hit hard pretty much every game all year in his return from Tommy John surgery. So then it's kind of going on down the line. Tyler Alexander on the Angels is having a very good year. He is a free agent next year. Obviously, they're not contending again. That's somebody that immediately comes to mind for me. There's still a lot of sorting out to be done. And if you look at the Rockies, for example, they don't really have anybody attractive enough to sell. The White Sox, Luis Robert, that's one that I think could really move the needle there. But it's just so early. And I looked at the AL East, like in last place is the Orioles. They can't sell right now. There's no way the front office can justify that. So then you're flipped back over to the NL East, and you're looking at Marlins. Not a ton of guys just yet, other than Alcantara. Maybe he gets his act together, then Alcantara could go. I don't really see the Nationals in position to sell because I think they want to contend next year. So Luis Robert, Tyler Alexander right now. Things always get juicier as we get closer, though.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jackson Merrill. He's off to a fantastic start, as is Fernando Tatis Jr. Now he's kind of dealing with some timing issues right now, but both are off to a really good start. At the end of the day, do you see either of these guys factoring in on the National League MVP when it's all said and done?
Yes. It's interesting because a lot of it, everybody just expects that Ohtani's going to win MVP. And if he does pitch, how much does he pitch? Let's say he got up to like 80 to 100 innings and he keeps hitting like this, then he's definitely going to win MVP, and we don't even need to discuss it. But they're still only at like 35 pitches, and he's not even thrown any breaking stuff yet, and we're in the middle of May. I don't know how much he's going to pitch. And if he's only DH all year, there's an opening there. I could totally see Tatis right now being a major factor there in the MVP race. And like the other guys who are in it, Pete Alonso right there, I'd expect him to fall off. In fact, I expect Francisco Lindor to pass Alonso just on the Mets alone, and maybe even Juan Soto as well. If you look around, like Kyle Tucker of the Cubs would be in the discussion, but Tatis is having a better year than him. There's upstarts in there like Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs, but surely he's going to run hot and cold because he's so young. Offensively, he'll be inconsistent. Man, Tatis is just right there. I mean, if you look at the Phillies, it's Schwarber probably, and he's a DH. Tatis might be – Ketel Marte was hurt for a little bit, much like Jackson Merrill. Tatis might be your best pick. If you wanted to go away from Ohtani right now, I think it might be Tatis.
Matt, you're the greatest. We have a couple seconds left, just enough for you to comment on this absurd comment. Paul Skeens, less strikeouts than innings pitched, 3-4 record, 2.77, not the best ERA. Can you get us a recount on last year's Rookie of the Year balloting? All right. If you want to hear the last second of that interview, go to 973thefansd.com. But you got all of it there. Matt Snyder getting us ready. Padre baseball. Sam Levitt gets us ready. Pregame show for Scraby, for Tony, Crisello. Enjoy the game, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow on 97.3 The Fan.